I never had the chance to run, leave behind the said and done, figure out what's to come. Reasons, all the bigger things I can't ignore. I'm not getting what I came here for, gotta get ahead of something more. So I think I found a new way out, way beyond a shadow of doubt. 'Cause I can't breathe, and I guess I could be stronger now, and leave it up to fate somehow. But I'm doing this for me. Give it up, baby, you're not fooling anyone. Always going on and on. Can't you keep it to yourself for once? Oh, I think I found a new way out, way beyond your shadow of doubt. And I can't breathe. Oh, I hope you're keeping count of all the times you let me down, and all the things you said out loud, the bullshit I could cry about. And I know we could be stronger now, and leave it up to fate somehow. But everything I do for me.
I get lost sometimes and I can't seem to find a light between the walls I built for myself right in my mind. And then you came over and you showed me love that I never had seen before. And now when I got you, it's all gonna be alright. Thinking about all the things we did tonight, what a time to be alive. Just you and I, just you and I. Only you can put my fire out. You can turn it all around. You can lift me off the ground, so we can fly again, so we can fly again. Been trying hard not to go out of my mind, and all I need right now is for you to stay the night. But if you keep saying that you've got to leave, then I'm gonna be alright. As long as you tell me that we ain't running out of time. Thinking about all the things we did tonight, what a time to be alive. Just you and I, just you and I. Only you can put my fire out. You can turn it all around. And you can lift
decay more slowly than stationary particles. As strange and counterintuitive as it seems, time dilation is a law of nature.
you get the fuck up.
chance to run, leave behind the said and done, figure out what's to come. Reasons, all the bigger things I can't ignore. I'm not getting what I came here for. Gotta get ahead of something more. So I think I found a new way out. Waving.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Simplay Motorsport, here for the Pro Series tonight. Only 10 guys out on the track at the moment. We are missing Andy, he's at work. Emo Guy, I do believe, doesn't have the PS4 fix, and Rabbit Joe as well, not able to attend tonight. But apart from that, we should have a full-ish grid, should I say. We are missing Liam. We are also missing Phil at the moment, not sure where he is. So we'll have to wait to see where these guys are when they turn up. Who else will we miss? I'm sure I counted 11 before we came in. So hopefully the guys do get in. We've got a 20-minute practice session and 10-minute qualifying for them to do so. We're at SUGO, second night in a row. We saw a cracking Pro-Am race last night. The race 2 in the rain, brilliantly done between a great battle from third all the way down to 6th at one stage. And then we had a great change for the lead at the end where Fury couldn't hang on. And we're here again tonight, and the weather is atrocious for the whole evening. It looks wet, and it's going to be a real test of what these boys can do out there. I'm Matthew Duffin, as always, on a Thursday night, joined by my partner in crime. It's Sweet and Sticky in your box. Kelly, how are you?
Very well, mate. Yeah, and yourself? All good?
All good, mate.
All good in the hood, as it were?
All
Excellent.
good in the hood.
And look at this weather, mate, innit? Eh?
Oh, you couldn't write it, could you? It's not stopped raining from last night, apparently.
Well, there you go. There you go. And you can see it on track. So lots and lots of rain around. So for once, the Pro Boys going to have to work for their money a bit, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They've got to, not seen many wet races, have we, this season in the Pro category, as Liam's just got himself back in. So nice to get Liam in as well. Yeah, not seen a lot of wet races this season. And it's now going to be a test to see what we're going to see, because not only is this track, not one of the quicker circuits on the calendar. There's a lot of twists and turns here where we saw in the rain last night that Porsche was better than the Mercedes. But what is going to happen tonight? It really throws a spanner in the works. How are these drivers going to do in the wet? Like Kelly's just said, we've not seen a lot of wet races here. So it's going to be interesting to see what these drivers are capable of early on.
Yes, indeed. And going from last night's Pro-Am, the Mercedes were very strong again, and very, very strong in the dry race. If you didn't get an opportunity to see it, go back and watch it some other time. It's on the channel, on the YouTube channel. Please do go back and have a look when you get opportunity. Not now, of course. But the Mercedes were very dominant in race 1, occupying the first 5 slots of that race. In race 2, the odds were a bit more even, and the Porsches came alive in the wet. So Pro Night is usually a different ball game anyway, because our very front runners, being Leachy Legends and Shake and Bake guys, are all in the Porsches. So I'm expecting the Porsches to be very, very strong in these conditions.
Indeed am I. It's going to be an interesting one to watch. Let's keep our eyes on... No Gianettas tonight, so let's keep our eyes on this man Disco and Sooty Apex as well. Hopefully Phil can get in if he is around, because they're interesting cars to see around here. With it not being as top speedy as other circuits, what can the BMW and the Acura do around this track? It's going to be an interesting one to see. That Bozzy Boy as well is one that's interesting me, Kelly. We've seen him last week at Silverstone, really put in 2 good qualifying performances and a great second race until he span. But it's not just there, it was Zhuhai he raced well, qualified well at the second race of Catalonia. So what does Liam have in his locker in the rain as well? It's going to be an interesting battle to go through. I'm going to run you through the championship standings, because I know Kelly loves it when I get my stats.
It's the highlight of my Thursday. Yeah. It really is.
It's the highlight of your week, so Dan says. We've got probably the best championship battle we've ever had here at Simplay Motorsport. 3 drivers separated by 4 points going into the final 5 weeks of racing, and it's Gary 131 and D Biggs tied on 241 points, with Unorthodox 4 points back on 237. Then a heck of a jump, 58 points back to Little Leach, who's everybody's still mathematically in the title race here, so anything can still happen, but it's going to take him a lot of work from 58 points behind. Jamie in 5th place, 75 points behind, but what he has got is his double points still to take, which is either tonight, next week, or at Laguna Seca in 2 weeks' time. So Jamie isn't really out of this yet. We've seen him take 2 race wins last week. A round like that will really put him back in that championship discussion. You then drop to Monkey Boy in P7, who is over 100 points behind the leaders. Emo Guy is P8, Peaceful Explosion P9 with Rabbit Joe 10th. Rabbit Joe P9. Liam in 10th. Disco in 11th. Phil 12th. Andy 13th. Welchie 14th. Sooty 15th. And Keegs down in 16th place. But as we know, Keegs has dropped out and will be mathematically, even if he was to come back will be mathematically unlikely to win the title as of this week. He is technically out of it, and even if no one else turned up apart from Keegs, he would not win it. Shake and Bake lead the Constructors' Championship by 54 points from the Leachy Legends. Have the Shake and Bake Porsches got the upper hand over the Leachy Legends this season? Are they going to take the fight to them? And are they already eyeing up that team's championship? What's going to happen with them two as well, Kelly, before I finish off the rest of the table? Because leading the Constructors, one of them's tied with Gary for the title, one of them's 4 points behind. You wouldn't want to be the drivers in that team at this situation.
No, indeed. It's a very interesting... Oh, Disco gets it all wrong in the BMW. Yeah, it is a very interesting situation. You've got this man, Mr. Consistent, probably the most consistent driver of the GT3 either categories, Pro or Pro-Am. He's the man 4 points behind, bringing home the results.
D-Biggs is the man tied.
D-Biggs is the man tied. Daniel's 4 points behind, isn't he? And Charging had a couple of really strong rounds as Daniel, and of course Gary in this one as well, all in the Porsches. So you've got the Shake and Bake guys, you've got both of them in this title hunt. So yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? They're going to have to micromanage themselves, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? There's no team boss to bang their heads together like Rosberg and Hamilton or Hamilton and Alonso or whoever else. You know, there's no team boss to bang their heads together and keep them in check. They've got to micromanage this themselves and go forward. So interesting situation for sure.
It is indeed. Leachy Legends and P2, as we know, 54 behind, and then it's a huge jump back to the Audis of Liam and Jamie, 220 points behind the two constructors leaders of the two Porsches. The Mercedes-Benz of GQ Motorsport come in fourth place. The two Ginettas are P6 and could potentially lose that. I mean, with Welshie on his own tonight, I don't think Welshie's going to score 30 odd points, but you never know in motor racing. He could do, and he could jump Class of 9.7. Run Flat Racing are then in P7, and Simplay Racing of the BMW of Disco all on his own on 88 points there. Then that is your constructors table. 260 points remain for the Drivers' Championship, 460 for the constructors. That's what's left in the Pro for this season. That includes both races and fastest laps tonight. So there is a lot of points, Kelly, still to be accumulated. Yeah. But now's the time of the season where we start to talk more about the title fight than just about the racing. And now's the time where we have to look at that table. We're in, 5 weeks left. Every result counts now. It's not like the early part of the year where you can drop a result here, you can drop a result there. Everything matters.
Absolutely, and these four top guys. I mean, Jamie is the fly in the ointment, isn't he? He's although he's a way behind, he has got pace and he is taking race wins, and he's the as I said, the fly in the ointment between the Porsches. Really, he's the one, the danger man who's taking away points, but then he can also be benefiting whoever he needs to be benefiting by taking those points, but. And
don't discount Jamie as well, because he's still got to take his double points. And seven. If he has a week like we saw last week, what did he score last week? He scored. Where was it? Sorry, not last week. The week before, he scored maximum of 52. So if he has another week like that, when he does decide to take his double points, that's 104 points. That puts him right back on the championship hunt as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, and the point I was getting to was it only takes like an Orthodubs, D-Biggs or Gary to have a bad round, have an accident, get rolled over maybe, a lot of damage, stuff like that, and that's their round over. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And then they're losing. Oh, as we see, was that Sutty? Yeah. You know what I mean? That's when it really starts to hurt them. Do you know what I mean? They're gonna want every round to count, and those ones where things go wrong. Are going to be devastating, absolutely devastating.
They are indeed. Not only does Gary, D-Biggs and Dan have to look at each other, they have got to watch this Audi. And don't discount Little Each as well. He's only 58 off the back, so he's still there. Can be a nuisance, and needs to be a nuisance if him and Gary are to win the constructors' title. What do we think to Craig's pace? We saw the top three last week of Dan, D-Biggs and Gary in both races looked the better three. Can Craig up his game here tonight? Well, he has to up his game, doesn't he? If he's to help the Leachy Legends get back in that constructors' fight.
Excuse me, I was just having a drink. But yes, you're quite right. But again, we don't know what's going to happen, Matt, do we? Do you know what I mean? You say he's, what, 57
58.
off the lead? 58 off the lead. Do you know what I mean? That's not a huge amount with still 5 weeks to go and a lot of races. As said, we don't know what's going to happen. He's still, although he's lost touch a little bit, it is only a little bit.
But he's got to keep the foot in, hasn't he, to get them constructors' points as well, hasn't he?
Yes.
Even if it's not the driver's title for him, and he is now sort of just saying, do you know what? I'll give you an hand, bro. I've still got to sort of help you out with the constructors' fight. 54 points, the constructors' difference between Shake and Bake and Leachy Legends. He's still got to pump in the efforts. Disco Face, evening to you. Ian Thompson, Peaceful Stepdad, Daniel Francis, Unorthodox, Fury's Grandad, so evening Tony, and Bethany Duffin, who says, hey all, it's my birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday indeed. We need to do our best karaoke impression, do we not?
Should we do it in the 8 minutes left of practice?
Well, I don't know, mate. What are you thinking?
Yeah,
what are you thinking? Now's where is she?
She's upstairs, probably watching it on the telly in the bedroom.
Hang on.
There you go. We don't have to do the singing.
No. That's not good. How do I turn it off now? It's supposed to be a DJ. Stop it. Stop.
Well, one thing I'm noticing here, Kelly, is Gary's only P8 before we get to the singing. Gary struggling for a little bit of pace maybe in the practice.
Yeah, absolutely. But more importantly, Stevie Wonder isn't good enough. We're going to have to sing her happy birthday.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. I'm just going to do my Tom Jones warm up. Right, I'm ready.
Hang on. I'm ready when you are.
Okay, do you want me to get started?
You start us off. Yeah, you start us off. Yep.
Happy birthday to you. In time, Matt.
Happy birthday
to you. What a lash up. Happy birthday,
dear Bethany.
Happy birthday to you. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we won't make it on the X Factor.
Robson and Jerome don't have anything to worry about, do they? That's for certain sure, isn't it? Happy birthday, Beth. I hope Matt has looked after you just as well as he looks after his other great love, Simplay that being. Yeah. So I hope he's looked after you.
Yeah, we've had a nice day. We've had a really good day. It's been
lovely,
absolutely brilliant. Just chilled out, watching the telly, playing with kids, and just having a nice, relaxing day. Ordered a takeaway as well. So we've had a nice little takeaway for our tea.
What did you have?
Just a McDonald's. She fancied a McDonald's, so we had a McDonald's.
Ah, there we go. Awesome.
Yeah. Back to the practice, Kelly. 6 minutes remaining.
Yeah.
The Shake and Bake split by the Iron Brew of Jamie Brazier. Disco's then looking quick in P4. Little Leach, the quicker of the two Leachy legends, and Sooty P6. So not bad from the Acora at the minute.
No, not at all. This man with the quickest in practice. Now, am I right in saying that's quicker than he's been doing in his own practice?
Yes, him and Peaceful was in a practice session, and Dan did a late 25s in the practice session that I was involved in with him and Peaceful. I was just sat watching, so he's gone a lot quicker than that. But
yeah, he's found some more pace.
Well, the thing is he came in a bit later in that session than when it started, so it may have been a bit wetter than what it was when he set that lap time there.
Sure.
Don't forget, there's only 20 minutes, so it may have been a bit wetter in that session.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Is he doing them kind of lap times now? Let me load my app up, and I'll have a look.
Okay. The good old Apple.
Yeah. Who else do we have out there? Big Boy Brazier's in the pits.
Yeah.
Disco having a good showing in P4.
Yeah, he's finding his way. We were interested to see what the BMW is going to do tonight, and he's finding his way. So, what have we got? A Porsche from Audi, from Porsche, from BMW, from Porsche, and a Cora, Mercedes, Porsche, Mercedes, Audi, and Porsche. So, kind of Porsches all over the place, really, aren't they?
A lot of Porsches in the Pro Series, and just looking at the last couple of lap times, unless you're D-Biggs, you're all in the 28s, 27s. D-Biggs actually improved to a 24.4. Now, was that with Slipstream, was it not? We don't know. But all the other lap times at the minute suggest that it is just getting wetter out there, and there's not a lot of improvements coming in. We will keep our eye on the session there as it goes along. There's Gary then, down in dismal P8, but sandbags, not showing his true colours. What do we think?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I mean, I went out in practice yesterday and thought, I'll sandbag this because I've got great pace, and found I didn't. So,
yes.
But Gary's a different story to me. Yeah, maybe. Might be just finding his feet, doing some zone testing. You don't have to go out there and prove what time you can do.
No, by all means, you don't. You just go out there and it's just mainly final setup tweaks that you might want to change, isn't it?
Yeah. Absolutely, and just do your thing, instead of trying to go as fast as you can. There's always a bit of a kudos to it, isn't there, to be a fastest in practice, I suppose. So,
yeah.
I tell you what, I love that shot on the last corner as they come into the last corner. That's a cracking shot.
It's a nice little one.
Yeah, down low. You can see the cars the back end just complaining a little bit and stepping out. It's a lovely shot.
Evening to Dean Wasaki, who's just got himself in the chat. So I hope Dean is well, and hope everybody in the chat tonight as well. Don't forget, as always, every week, Kelly says it, if you've got a question, don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah, let's have it.
If we don't know, Wikipedia will know, and if Wikipedia doesn't know, Daniel Francis will.
Absolutely, and Daniel Francis tends to read Wikipedia further than I do, as was proved last week. So
that was
he
quite
tends to
funny
read
as
it
well.
down a little bit further. So I'm trying to find someone. Here we go. I'm going to do an on board.
You can do an on board.
I'm going to do an on board.
Yeah.
Here we go. Down the main straight here in Japan. Absolutely tipping it down. Turn 1. Quite tight double right hander. Not too bad. Not as bad as it looks. To get the apex of that one. This one, come off the throttle a little bit, running out to the right-hand side. Here goes the uphill bit. Some people brake, some people roll into this one. Left-hander, second gear. Try not to lose the back end. Uphill chicane. This can catch people out a little bit. You can run the curbs, especially in the Porsche. Still going uphill. Tricky little right-hander here. Puddle forming in the middle of it. That's only going to get worse. And, Peaceful has dropped it. So, there we go. Is he going to spin it round? No, he's going back to the pits. Let's find somebody else.
D-Biggs.
Okay, we'll try that again with D-Biggs. So, coming up to the start-finish line, pit entry just there on your right-hand side. Not huge long pits. Here we go. Turn 1, double right-hander, hit the brakes, down a couple of gears, run it out to the curb, tuck it back into the apex on the right-hand side, run out to the left, come across the track, try to pick the apex up on the left-hander, run out to the right-hand side. We go uphill again. Some people roll into it, some people hit the brakes. And, D-Biggs going deep into that one. Uphill chicane. You can run the curbs, as I said, especially in the Porsche, and D-Biggs does. See that? Doesn't unsettle the car too much. Tricky little right-hander here. You come down a gear, puddle in the middle of it, going to get worse. We got to next one. This is a weird one as well. As you come onto the top straight, it's very easy to run wide. This is the longest straight now on the whole lap, so flat scat down through here. Keep it out on the left-hand side because you're coming up to another right-hander. Hit the brakes now. Down a couple of gears, late apex, get on the power nice and quickly. Now I love these last couple of corners.
Beautiful.
First one, just come off the power a little bit, tuck it into the apex. This one you can just come off the throttle, no brake, nail it on the outside. A little bit too much curve there, D-Biggs, and I love this last corner. Tuck it to the apex, now hit the power, and you can run the power all the way up the hill. Let the car just drift out to the left-hand side as you come up to the bridge, the big tyre thingy, and then up over the top of the hill, and you've done a lap. Not a long lap. 118, 117, 118 in the dry for the quick boys. 124s as we're seeing at the moment, but those lap times are going to go down and down as the track gets wetter and wetter this evening.
And that was a 125.860 for D-Biggs on that last lap. And Jamie as well, a high 25. And that seems to be the best couple of laps coming in these last few laps is a high 25, which is what Dan was running earlier. But 26s, 27s seem to be the pace at the minute. And I thought when you was getting to that last part of the track that you was going to say, lovely little section here, you pin it tight to the apex of the curb and then you roll it on the second one, and you never did.
Well, I didn't. I had a little help roll in it. Normally that's really fast flowy section, and you can really attack it, and it's really quite great. As I say, I ended up at the roof probably because I had Smithy trying to get in the passenger door. He was trying to drive into the side of me, so that's how I ended up on the roof, not by anything else.
As we see Little Each End, as people are starting to end their session. Bethany Duffin, my question is for Matt. Is it coming home? No. Any more of that, and I'll mute the chat. Any more of that, and I'll be muting the chat. Tell you now.
We don't want to talk about it.
Nah. The cricket's coming home. They beat Sri Lanka again today. Well, they're still playing Sri Lanka at the minute, so we'll say that one. Also, Lewis Hamilton, is he going to come home? The question is, the real question is it D-Biggs, Gary 131 or Unorthodox who's going to come home with the title this season? That is the big question.
Wow. That is the big question. As for Lewis Hamilton, I say no. I say Max is going to do it again. As for the cricket, I couldn't possibly comment. But I watched a little bit of Wimbledon. And that's going all right.
Yeah, I've been watching Wimbledon. That's been quite good. Unorthodox end, the quickest man in this practice session, only 0.08 of a second quicker than Jamie Brazier, and D-Biggs only a couple of tenths behind. The championship leader, based off of the race wins this season, Gary, down in P8. So what can he do going into the qualifying session now? Good question from Daniel Francis here.
Yeah,
Would I be right in thinking that some of these wet times would be good enough to mix it with the back of the dry grid last night?
Absolutely.
Potentially, yes. That is a very good question, Daniel. Wikipedia won't know this one. You'll have to go back and watch last night and find out last night's qualifying. But I do believe some of the back of the grid last night was a bit slower than Dan and Jamie's pace at the front of the grid here in practice.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was very much so.
Now the key for qualifying here, Kelly, is straight out. Welsh has just got himself a grid penalty for speeding in the pit lane. The key here is we know that the 10-minute qualifying, you don't want to hang about. You want to get on the track as soon as possible. But round here,
and as I said,
in the wet, with the track with the track at its driest at the beginning, you've got to get out there now.
Yeah, indeed. And Unorthodox was the quickest one out there. He's being chased by Gary. That would be then. Gary, so it's like last week all over again. But in the first qualifying. So these guys don't want to be that close when they're... Gary's going to back out of it in a minute, I think. He's going to give him some...
Yeah, I also think Gary's
space.
not overtaken Dan there to not give the slipstream away. Especially up such a long start straight. 18 people watching the stream, 11 likes. Guys, hit that thumbs up button. D-Biggs back in the pits.
Matt, the problem with that is if Gary gets a slipstream from that point, what's he going to do with it when he gets to turn one?
Well, he's either got to send it up the inside or back out of his first lap. But you really don't want to back out of your first lap. Like we say, normally the second or third lap's the lap where you set the pace. In the wet,
it's just going to get wetter. It's just going to get wetter.
You've got to get it done on lap one, haven't you?
Yes, absolutely. It is just going to get wetter and wetter. So that's why all the guys are out at the moment. They know this as well as anybody, that they've got to get on with it. So looks like Gary's happy to just follow in Daniel's in Daniel's wake just for a minute, and we'll see how that pans out for him. Although he's dropping off a little bit now. So yeah, they've got to get on with it. As I said, you know, it's critical times.
Well, Daniel does a 39 dead in the first sector. Gary 9 tenths slower. Disco was even quicker than Gary from behind. So did Gary just back out of it in the chicane, or did he make a little bit of a mistake? But 9 tenths already off the back of Dan through sector 1. It's saying Disco was purple in sector 1. Well, no, it wasn't, because Dan is with a 39.0. So I don't know why the app's telling me that Disco was purple. It's now gone back to Unorthodox, so now it's fixed itself out. Although he wasn't purple, Jamie Brazier was with a 38.9. So wherever Jamie is on track, that's the kind of pace you're wanting. Gary through the middle sector, Dan 20.5, Gary 20.4. So he's made a bit of time up there. Now we go into sector 3, and Dan has bailed on that lap, I'd say.
No, he hasn't. No, he's just drifting across the track. Maybe he thinks he's going to get temperature out of that. Dan goes quickest on a 23.9. That's quick.
Now that proves to you how important it is to get out there straight away, and that shows you that could be qualifying done at this rate.
Yeah, that was. Oh, dare I say it?
Jamie Brazier at 23.4.
I was just about to say that's going to be very hard to beat, but obviously Jamie's found something. 23.4 in the wet. That's yes, that is getting to it now, Daniel.
That's Little Each, who's had a bit of a spin. Sutty in the pits, slipstreaming another did me last night when he slowed for the rest of the lap. I outbraked myself at the end of the back straight. So Daniel just saying there, obviously, how difficult it can be at times to follow other cars. Gary peaceful in the pits, so they're gonna that's pretty much their qualifying ruined if they're going to sit in the pits. They want to be out there on track. Improvements here. Green sectors coming in on the app, but no purple sectors yet, as Disco's just ruined his lap. Yeah, that's that one done. Gary's coming back out the pits. Disco returns to the pits, and Peaceful's coming out as well. Just a bit slow to let that Bozzy boy through, who is currently down in P9 and not the pace we're used to seeing from Liam, as he now drops to 10th as D Biggs only goes 8th. D Biggs at the beginning of this qualifying was in the pits a little longer than the other drivers, went back into the pits. Has he missed that opportunity to get a good qualifying here?
Well, who's to know? And any time we think that things are the way we think they are, they're not.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't count anybody out from going faster. I think it's unlikely. You know, I think the first shot was probably going to be your best one, but I'm not saying it's impossible. And maybe D Biggs has got a different strategy than the other guys. He went a bit deep there on that corner. Very easy to run wide out of that corner. Very, very easy. But it's not horrendously bad to get back on track. Seems to be, I don't know which Honda's been cutting the grass, but the grass seems got quite a lot of traction on this circuit. And the curbs don't
we're in
Japan,
so we're in Japan, so they've probably made their grass with a bit more traction in it for the Hondas. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's probably Honda grass, to be honest.
We'll have to wait and see. Gary 131 in qualifying. He averages P5. He's currently P4, so getting about where he normally qualifies. The best thing is with this average qualifying this year is most of the championship contenders are all averaging the same. D Biggs P4, Dan P5, Gary P5, Big Boy Brazier P3. So they're all around about the 3rd, 4th, 5th mark. So it's really tight in the average qualifying as well as the title. The best average qualifier is a couple of P3s, one for Andy and Jamie Brazier himself. The worst average qualifier, Welshie, P13. But there's only 11 drivers out there tonight, so he will improve his efforts out there. A best of P11. Can he get off that P11 spot? Well, no, because he's got the grid penalty, but we'll have to wait and see. Sooty Apex in the Acura averages 10th. He's got a real shout tonight of making that average a bit better. Biggs has gone 7th, but only a couple of hundredths quicker than this man who we're on board now, who was up in the middle sector. Now, is he up enough in that middle sector to make it count as he comes to the back straight? This is really where the Acura is going to struggle tonight.
Yes, indeed. It's down on power, and it's going to struggle, especially if someone gets in behind him around that corner. They're going to just nail it down through the along the pit straight. But an opportunity here, all jokes aside, for the Acura to do well. We know Sooty can drive. We know he's got pace. He's more than capable of doing the results, but the car's just been not competitive enough, and the odds might be a bit more even tonight, so we might see a bit more from Sooty Apex, which would be nice.
It would be nice. Daniel Francis saying that a 23.4 would have put him 11th ahead of 2 drivers last night for Jamie Brazier. So that's how good a time Jamie has done.
That's why they're pro and pro-am, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. There's one of Dizzy, Biggs, or it was on Orthodubs and he was off. Liam and Gary in the pits, and I reckon this is qualifying done. Although Sooty's apparently gone purple sector 1, so if Sooty's gone purple sector 1, what can he do for the rest of the lap? Let's stay on board Sooty then. At this moment now, no double points taken tonight by any of these drivers, which shocked me when Sooty said he wasn't taking his double. He's also, according to the phone, purple sector 2. So what has Sooty done to this car?
He's going to lose it.
Oh, no.
He's going to lose
would have been?
He can go again.
He can go again, and if he's got the time to keep it going, what a shame, though, because purple
he started
sector
to lose
1
it as he entered the corner.
Yeah, purple sector 1 and 2. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. He improves,
goes
though.
5th.
Still
goes 5th.
So what would that lap have been? A second off of Big Boy Brazier? What would that lap have been?
Yeah.
Well,
that would have been it. Let's just hope he can put it all together for a second run. But that was quick pace. It'd be nice to see him at the front, wouldn't it?
Oh my days! I'm going to scream if he gets on that front row. Gary, evening lads. Happy birthday, Beth. With a nice little kiss. Oh, that's nice, Gary.
Oh, isn't that lovely?
Yeah, peaceful stepdad. Keep it up, Michael. Well, he needs to keep it up. He needs to get 3 attempts to get back ahead of the Acura. As Sooty comes round towards the back straight. Sooty actually... Did
You don't
you know?
say that very often, do you?
No, you don't say that very often. Sooty green in Sector 1, according to the phone. Did you know Sooty has a corner named after him? And it's the corner he's coming up to now. The Sooty Send It corner.
The Sooty Send It corner, yeah.
Previous league, we did 6 races in one night in a previous league, all based off the touring car package, like your Juniors, your GT4s, your Porsche, your Formula 4s, your touring cars, your Clios. All in one night, all 10-minute races. And all night, Sooty would qualify poor, because he used to be on the pad, and would race strong, and would just send it at that corner every time. So on commentary, we decided to nickname it the Sooty Send It corner.
And we'll stick with that then.
We will stick with it. Many send it tonight. Who knows? As D Biggs has gone into 4th place, so he's improved. Sooty goes in second! Oh, 700ths of a second off the pole! Oh, he's messed his lap up.
That's going to be his best one. That's going to be his best one.
He's lost to take over.
Right. Okay, so Matt's going to go off and have a little personal moment because there's a kind of a Honda-ish as it goes into the gravel, and he's so while Matt's just having his little personal moment there about his Honda, Sooty has split Jamie and Unorthodox, so nobody really improved. D Biggs has improved a little bit up to 5th, and he's still going round. But other than that, after that first run, nobody much improved.
No,
except Sooty, 23.5 in the Acura.
Welsh in the pits, he's going to start P11. That Buzzy Boy only down in 10th, not the best qualifying for him. Monkey Boy, not said much about Monkey Boy tonight, down in 9th. Little Each down in P8, so what a poor qualifying for him after his good practice pace. Peaceful's finished, he's not improved, he's going to get P7 then. Gary in the pits down in P6, was up in 3rd a moment ago, he's now 6th. D Biggs is P5 as it stands, it's done. Jamie, I think, is the last one out there on a flying lap, if you ask me. But D Biggs P5 at the minute. Disco looks like he's going to take a well-earned 4th place. With Unorthodox now dropping to the second row in 3rd, after being outdone by the Acura of Sooty Apex for P2. And Jamie doesn't even need to complete this lap, as that is pole position for him, and his 4th pole of the year.
Yes, indeed. So, cracking pace by Jamie. Sooty,
Disco in the chat's just said inquiry question mark. Well, we was on board it, and the lap was clean.
Yeah, and there is no real place to cut anything, really, is there, on this track? So, maybe maybe he's found some sort of glitch that we haven't, that we don't know about, you know. But
mega.
No, not at all. So he's done that on pace, and that's the joy of a wet meeting, isn't it? Because the odds are even. And the underdog can do well.
This is what happened, and we said the Acura could do quite well around here, even in the dry. Soft tyres, yeah, boys. Sooty special.
What?
If he's done that on the soft tyre, then there's no wonder he was a bit...
slicks?
Wow, Sooty.
Shut up. Never.
That's at the end of it. Well, either way, it's Jamie Brazier alongside an Acura in 2nd place. Sooty Apex flying in the Acura tonight. I told you it would happen this season. How far Sooty off the title? 181. So Sooty can't win it, but it's too. You never know.
That's optimism. That's optimism, Matt. You're already looking at the title just because he's qualified in 2nd. We haven't even put it on the race yet, and you're already looking at him for the title. Fantastic.
Unorthodox is P3, Disco P4, D Biggs then in 5th place alongside Gary 131. Peaceful Explosion is 7th with Little Each occupying him, and then it's Monkey Boy, that Buzzy Boy, and Welshie with a 1-place grid penalty. Michael Matthews, who would be probably in a party with Sooty, saying he did. So Sooty then must have done it on the soft tyres. Well, wow. Hats off to you. Has he just gave his strategy away maybe for the race?
Yes, maybe.
Sooty's just put in the chat, think I'm out of position. What gives that away?
We'll pass you some tissues for that nosebleed that you're having being up that high. Let's see what Sooty can do with it, shall we? Let's see if he can.
I just thought of something going back to Disco's inquiry. Is he on the pad? We know he's a bit better on the pad, so
yeah.
Is he on?
Maybe.
Has he realised that? Oh, hang on, I'm still quick on the pad, and the Acura's not that bad a car. And if I'd have done it all season, I may have been up there a bit more. But either way, what joys to see someone else at the front row of the grid, and that has really thrown a spanner in the works with Biggs and Gary 6th and 5th, tied in the championship lead. Dan all the way up in 3rd. Sorry, just ahead of his 2 title rivals. with the BMW and an Acura in the top 5, it's really sort of going to mix up. Jamie Brazier, you have to say, is favourite for this race win now.
You would like to say so, but as I said before, Sooty knows what he's doing.
Oh, yeah.
So he could give Jamie a headache, that's for certain sure, and give all the championship fighters a headache. I mean, let's face it, these two guys on the front row aren't the guys at the front of the championship.
No.
We know Jamie's fast, but he's still a way off the championship. Yeah. So all to play for. I think this is going to be a lot more exciting than last night's racing, and it's amazing what a bit of rain does, isn't it?
Oh, it's incredible. One bloke making his 50th appearance tonight, and that was the 26-year-old yesterday, Unorthodox, who is starting this race and will make his 50th appearance. Just say if Unorthodox wins tonight, he will tie Sooty's record of 7 all-time race wins. But we're green here. Sooty's not got a great start compared to Big Boy Brazier, who got away well. Disco already spinning. Welshie and Monkey Boy has tapped each other around, and Welshie, I think, waiting for Monkey Boy to get going. And Sooty and Dan just lean on each other a little bit, and Sooty manages to hold position, and it's P2 for Sooty already through the first couple of corners. And that's the bonus for him now, as he can concentrate on pulling a little gap in this little section. His biggest thing was do not get off the line badly, because Dan will mug you off. Gary, poor start for him. He's dropped to 8th. Yeah.
I thought Dan had a bit of wheel spin on the start. Looked like the back end started to skip out all over the place for Daniel as he started. Disco's gone to the back, had an horrendous start, crashed into the wall, and it's going from bad to worse by the looks of it. And Peaceful in 9th. Welshie's got in front of Peaceful, so Welshie's had a bit of a sensible start. Gary really not making any progress. Look at Liam. Look at Liam's start.
Great start.
He was 10th, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was 10th.
5 places in front of Little Leach.
Cracking start from that Bozzy boys. Dan did not get past Sooty though on that back straight, so Sooty just managing to stretch his legs, although he's gone a little wide here.
He's gone deep.
And that's into the gravel. That's going to allow Dan through, and D Biggs, you'd imagine, although Sooty back on. D Biggs didn't fancy going around the outside line and shoves his way through up the inside of Sooty there and makes sure he gets past him. So Sooty then, one little mistake for him, and that's him losing 2 places.
Yes, indeed. It was good while it lasted, Matt.
It's not over yet. It's not over yet.
If you like.
Hey, we've seen anything. We've seen anything can happen in the wet. Dan had a spin in qualifying, don't forget, in the wet. So anything can still happen with 19 laps to go here. So let's not discount anybody's chickens just yet. But Sooty at the moment, will still take a P4 in this one, as Liam has now lost out to Little Leach on the timing screens a bit further back, and Gary gets past Liam as well, and that might be why Liam's had a bit of a spin at turn 3 as Monkey Boy and Welshie get through. And now Liam is right on the back of Monkey Boy again, and I tell you what, that's an optimistic move, going to look up the inside at the chicane, and Monkey Boy has to yield the place. So Liam there, he's made just another little bit of maybe a bit of a mistake coming through the chicane. Bit too much pace coming through there, maybe.
I don't know. Is Liam struggling with something? I don't know if he just he seems to be all over the shop, doesn't he?
I know he has a few problems at times with his pedals disconnecting from the wheel. I wonder if that's what happened at the chicane. The pedals just sort of stopped, because he just seemed to stop, didn't he?
Yeah, he seemed to stop in the middle of that. I mean, he had that done. It was an optimistic move, but he had it done, and it looked like Monkey Boy had conceded that and just was going to let him go, and then just kind of all stopped in the middle of the chicane. But strange
one indeed. But we carry on, and Sooty has now been passed by Little Leach, so he looks like he's made another mistake in a similar area here.
Yeah, he's very slow out that corner, so I wonder if we've just missed him make a mistake, because Gary's going to mug him up the hill as well, and. I don't know what's happened there. Maybe his slick tyres have run out of luck. Yeah, has he kept the slick tyres on? Because if that's the case, they are maybe starting to struggle. And it was the same place as the lap before that he looked like he was slow. So I wonder if he's had an off at the same place. Either way, Sooty's good work in qualifying is now being undone. But with only 11 starters in this race, the top 5 can't start for race 2. As I think he's got the slicks on. That's a very sort of slide that would be on a slick tyre car, and he cannot pit, don't forget, until lap 6, unless he's going to pit twice. So his problems are getting worse. As Welshie there, I'm not sure whether he made a mistake or if Liam had just got past him and they touched a little bit, but either way... I don't know, I was looking in the background and this lot seemed to be in very close company again. Liam's got past Welshie, Monkey Boy's got past Welshie, so I don't know if Welshie made a mistake or whatever. He's now got Peaceful crawling all over the back of him as they go down the main straight. That Merc is quick in the straight line. Welshie coming off the corner a bit, looking like damage on his Porsche. So might have had a little bit of a spin and might be carrying some damage right about now.
Oh, peaceful! Just sort of touched the grass onto the brakes there, and that just sort of lost the rear end. And luckily enough, Welshie was there to just tap and straighten him up. But I'm sure he didn't mean to do that one. It was just a little bit of braking on the grass, and around the rear end wanted to go. Liam's still sticking to the back of Monkey Boy though, just in front of these two. He still wants to keep with him, and he still wants to make sure he can get on the back of him and maybe get Sooty as well.
Yes, indeed. So back to the front. Jamie's got, what's he got? A couple of seconds as the timing screen's. Yeah, a couple of seconds over Dan. The timing screen's going all over the place. Dan's dropped D Biggs a little bit though. Usually D Biggs is all over the back of Dan like a cheap suit, or the other way round. But D Biggs probably not got the same kind of pace as Dan. Little Leach is dragging himself up, but again, he's kind of dropping Gary a little bit. You know, Gary's not crawling all over the back of
Look at the front of Gary's car there, Kelly. It looks like the bonnet's slightly lifted on the front right. I wonder if Gary's just carrying a little bit of damage. He was up behind D-Biggs at the start and then dropped back down to 8th. So I wonder if he just had a bit of a bump with somebody at the start of the race then. He's up on he's up on his time. His race time's only a couple of temps slower, and we've lost Disco already in race 1, so that is not the start to the night that Disco would have wanted. Plenty of time in this race still to go. We could have come back in this one.
Yes, that's a real shame to have lost. Now I'm waiting for his race win, because then he's going to tell me why he's called Disco McDisco Face or whatever he is. But I'm waiting for that day. Gary. I mean, I had a little bit of an incident in the first race. Gave me about 15% damage on the front. And I drove that all race with no real problems. So just because Gary's got a little bit of a crumpled front doesn't mean that it's going to be, the end of the world for him. So we'll see. I mean, these guys have all kind of spaced out a little bit. The only body who's close is Liam's now catching on there or staying in contact with Monkey Boy. He isn't really catching him. So other than that, they've really quite spread out, considering we're only 5 laps in.
Yeah, they are, aren't they? Yeah, Liam was just a tenth quicker than Monkey Boy on that last lap.
Yeah, but then it's, in any motor race in the wet, you'll find the field spread happens really quickly because of the spray and the visibility.
Exactly. Disco Face, my tyres just don't know. At the start of the race, my tyres were hot. So obviously tyre problems, and that's maybe why he wasn't off the line. Hopefully he can get it sorted for for the second race. Oh, what's happened to Liam? That looks like
Liam's
pedal problems again. Yeah. Because look at the speedo, he's got nothing. He's got nothing.
No. All the other guys managed to avoid him just about. It looks like he's got nothing, as you say. And what's happened at the front? Unorthodox.
Jamie's in the lead.
Jamie's dropped it.
I tell you what. Let's drop back to Gary a second. Because Gary will be coming out Little Leach, because they'll be coming through this part of the track. Now let's keep an eye on this part of the section, because there's plastic bollards on the inside line of the track. If you hit them, for some reason, you get some serious damage. No, they're all there. They're all there. So that's fine. So he didn't hit them. Because what else it does as well is, Liam's retired.
Must have had pedal drop out or something. Yeah, absolutely. But Jamie has had a bit of an incident, but he's back on the pace. He's dragging in D Biggs again. But you know what Daniel's like in the wet? He doesn't need a second sniff of a win. He'll be just going into his super consistent mode and just banging out the laps now. So Jamie's got it all to do if he wants to win this race now.
Well, I'll tell you what a bad lap for Iron Brew Racing. Liam retires, and Jamie had an incident. He's clearly got damage because his headlight's out on the front left of that car, and that looks a bit of a handful in a straight line.
Yes, it does. Has he got proper look at that. Has he got proper damage, or is that just struggling with the wet? Last night, for the wet races that the Pro-Ams have had, and we've got Daniel Francis in the chat. He might be able to, and Smithy's there as well. So you guys might need to back me up on this one. The wet running here around this track wasn't as bad as Zhuhai and Hockenheim. The puddles aren't so bad, and I mean Zhuhai on the pit straight was almost undrivable
terrible
at the end.
We had the big incident, didn't we, with Nicky and Daniel and Kieran, just because they all sort of hit a different puddle as Jamie's coming into the pits. I
mean, I found it a lot easier track to race in the wet than those other two circuits. So,
Gary's coming in as well. Gary following suit here and coming into the pits at the end of lap 6. Sorry, Kelly. Gary coming in
That's
then.
right.
So maybe just repairing that little bit of damage he might have. But I tell you what, if you're Dan, you're sitting pretty here for your 7th win of the season. And yeah, Smithy saying, agreeing with you there, puddles weren't as bad.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed, they weren't. The puddles weren't so bad, and you could get the power down. So I mean, it's looking like, Jamie's got damage, and that's what it's about.
Yeah.
But I couldn't see that you being all over the road like he was just because of the wet, Not
Yes.
on this track.
Yeah, agree with you. Zhuhai is a lovely track, says Smithy. That's because he took a second place. Jamie in and out, but has lost out to Gary now as well by quite the margin then. And Gary will be thankful for the extra position now.
Yes.
I tell you what I'm expecting here after these pit stops is team orders from the Leachy legends. Gary, as much as Little Leach will want the podium, Gary kind of needs that podium to keep that pressure on D-Biggs and Unorthodox in this race.
Yeah, because Unorthodox and D-Biggs are out in front, so they're scoring the best possible points they can against Leachy legends. So, yeah, I enjoyed Zhuhai as well, Smithy. Yeah, because that one ended up for a win for me. So, it's after about 6 trips across the grass in the last lap. But yeah, it was Zhuhai was crazy. The pro guys always got it easy. They've always got it easier than us pro-ams for sure.
Daniel Francis as well saying nowhere near as Zhuhai said on Discord earlier. I didn't really see a puddle around here.
There's one coming up the hill, as I said earlier. There's like the show of one there, and that uphill section there's a couple, but not. You run through them, they don't affect at all.
Yeah.
You can kind of see them forming, but they don't really affect. But hey, we had half or 2/3 of a race in the wet. These guys have got this all evening.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting race 2. Each session gets, is almost like a reset, but I think the weather's a little bit heavier for race 2, so it's not going to get any better. It's just going to get worse.
It's just going to get worse. We are down to 9 drivers then. We started with 11, a few missing tonight. And we're now down to 9, so not the night you want to see in terms of drivers all over the track, and it is very strung out now as we're only on lap 8 of 20. Few of the drivers are pitted. Sutty's come in, maybe a change of tyre for Sutty. I haven't seen Peaceful in the pit, so has he made a mistake somewhere, or did he actually pit at the end of the last lap? I'm not sure. I'd have a guess he's made a mistake because that was Unorthodox coming in the pits, nearly lapping him, so I'd have a guess he's made a mistake.
And just look at these lap times, Matt. I mean, we were saying about it getting worse and worse. Just look at these lap times to where we were from qualifying. Where, Daniel just done a 27. Who's doing anything quicker than that? Nobody was doing anything quicker than that. Some guys there, Sutty was on the front row and he's in the 2 minutes. Look at that for a pit stop.
That was his outlap though, Kelly. So that was Sutty's outlap.
Sorry,
time
beg your pardon. So. Yeah, but still, the lap times are. Yeah. Did you see that? How quick
the shake and bait boys have got it brilliant in terms of their pit stops at the minute. They are flying in terms of their pits, really doing well, and he's only lost 2 places. He's came out ahead of Monkey Boy, who's not really anywhere near Dan as well. He's a good 9 seconds off the back of Unorthodox, so Dan doing the business at the minute. Question is can D-Biggs, who jumped Dan and Gary in the pits last week at Silverstone by going longer, will that be the case for D-Biggs tonight? Let's keep our eyes out on that one.
Wow.
As he is 5 seconds up the road from Little Leach.
Going to depend on pace, isn't it? And he's got pace, but I went long last night, didn't pay me off, lost 2 places in the pits. It's going to depend on his pace, and we know D-Biggs has got pace, that's for sure.
Indeed we do then. Little Leach is now the 2nd place. Gary's dropped it somewhere, I reckon, because he was well in front of Jamie. Jamie's now back in front of Gary, so Gary struggling here tonight. Yes,
he is, and that's unfortunate, but you're right, it does look like he's dropped it. Is there a bit of damage on that Porsche again now?
It looks the same as what it was when he pitted earlier, so I don't know if they may have repaired it on his screen, but on ours we're not getting the effect of it being fixed properly.
Yes, indeed, and that happens sometimes, doesn't it? It doesn't show us what exactly what's happened, so he could have well have got that fixed. Gary down in 6th, Jamie in 5th, Shake and Bake Boys going to be rubbing their hands, aren't they?
Yeah, it's not over yet though. D Biggs has still got to pit, and Little Each is still in between the Shake and Bake Boys to be a bit of a nuisance before he stops as well. We're at the halfway mark of this race, and with it getting wetter, Kelly, though, this could lead to a few more mistakes. The drivers have still got to be on it. It's not like a dry race where you can just take your foot off the gas a little bit. You've still got to be on it because the rain is still pouring.
Yes, and Daniel Francis in the chat saying about the track wetter than it was last night. I believe that it's a similar setting to last night.
Similar setting, but getting wetter.
But getting wetter, yes, and more of it. So more of it. Yeah, and but it's going to get worse for the next race. So I believe.
Yeah, it does look like the rain is coming in heavier for the next race, especially as D Biggs then decides to pit at the end of lap 10. Will Little Each follow him in? No, he stays out on track, but will inherit the race lead. Now then, Shake and Bake, how good is your pit stop with D Biggs? Because Dan's coming down the straight. Dan's inevitably going to get past D Biggs because he was ahead of him. Let's see how good this stop is. Not as quick. I mean, it's still good.
Reasonable,
the lollipop man's not even lifted the lollipop, but it's
no, drove right through it. Fantastic.
Yeah, I don't think it was as quick as Dan's, but it was still a very good stop that has jumped Jamie by a long way because of Jamie's damage, as Monkey Boy now comes in at the end of lap 10 as well.
Yes, indeed, and quite easy on the pit entry on this one, Matt, to go a little bit too quick.
Yes,
because you come up over the hill, and then you kind of want to be braking for the pit entry. And oh, Monkey Boy, where you going? Where you going? You don't park it yet. Put it there. That's it. You come up over the hill. That was a quick one as well.
Yeah, that's a good stop. What a shame he kind of messed up the entry.
Yeah. As I was saying, you come up over the hill and then you hit the brakes. You hit the brakes in the wet. I mean, in practice, my own personal practicing, not on the actual meeting, I hit the pit wall because just the back end just locked up and went crashing into the wall. Monkey Boy not going very fast out of the pits, is he?
No, I wonder if he's had a problem with his pit limiter button. Something.
I don't know, but he's very slow. Yeah, and
oh, this is strange now. Yeah, this is Little Each is in the pits end of lap 11. Something very strange about this here.
Yeah, Welshie's not moving particularly quickly either, or is, I don't know, these guys are a bit more like it, I suppose.
Yeah. Either way,
a little bit weird. Yeah.
Little Each is in the pits. D Biggs and Dan have gone, and Little Each's pit stop it's not as good, is it? It's like watching Mercedes versus Red Bull at the minute. One of the top teams not as quick as the other in the pits, and that is the story here. What Little Each might do though is jump Jamie Brazier, who's dropped Gary by about 4 seconds, and I think Little Each is going to have done Big Boy Brazier then.
Yep, he has.
So good stop. That shows the effect of Jamie's damage, that he had to pit for such a long time. We are down to 9 runners. Monkey Boy is now dead last, so I'm not sure what's happened there to Monkey Boy. He's still...
Monkey Boy on slicks is the question on the chat. I don't know.
I don't know.
What?
I think he's put the AI in the car.
Really?
Look how perfectly still that car is.
I was going to say it's not on slicks because he's not losing the
he's
back
just
end.
commented the AI is in the car. He's caught the button that puts the AI in the car. So Monkey Boy here is going to have to pit again.
Here it goes. Yeah.
The AI is set to whatever the host of the setting sets it to, and I've set it to 0 because there is no AI. So Monkey Boy's had a lap of the AI in the car and he's dead last. Oh, what a shame! I hate my wheel more than Matt hates England fans. I don't hate England fans. They just annoy me.
That's not fair, is it?
No,
that's not fair. He's probably not had that wheel long enough to hate it as much as you hate England fans.
Yeah, good point. Although if his wheel, Liam, I'll say it to you again. Get a bit of tape, put it over that bit. It will keep that thing in for your pedals to stay connected. Don't know how many times I've told you. Monkey Boy then, we can confirm. Peaceful did pit. Peaceful pitted on lap 6. So apologies, I must have missed that one. So everybody then has pitted bar Welsh. I do believe Welsh hasn't pitted. If he has, please someone do tell me. But Monkey Boy then is now back in the car, but a lap down.
Yeah, that's a shame because he was running steady. He was running steady and consistent. So Jamie's now coming up to the back of Little Leach. So we should have a little scrap here. because these boys are both capable. So we'll see how we get on. Not the easiest track to overtake on this one.
No.
You kind of need, a lot more power. Usually along here is the way to do it. As Jamie has a little chink from behind, has a look one way or the other. But I don't think the Audi's got superior speed advantage over the Porsche.
No.
Well, certainly not in the hands of someone like Little Leach.
Yeah, I don't think it has. What I am noticing, though, is Jamie was quicker than Dan and D Biggs on the last lap. Quite a bit quicker than Dan as well. 1.2 seconds quicker than Dan. So he'll want to get past Jamie as quick as possible to maybe make inroads on D Biggs. I tell you one man who needs to up his pace, and that's Gary, because he needs to get that Porsche a bit closer to the front of this pack.
Yes, indeed. Oh, Jamie just loses it as we go over.
Well, there goes that one.
Haley had a bit of a moment there, didn't you, as well? And screamed out loud when Jamie lost it on the last corner there. So that's taken the pressure off Little Leach for a minute or two. Jamie's now 20 seconds off the lead now.
That's ruined that one, hasn't it? As
pretty much, yeah.
Dan D Biggs and Little Leach there all pretty much do the same lap. Gary was actually quicker than the four leaders, because Jamie had a bit of a mistake, but Gary will be hoping for a few more mistakes from Jamie like that if Gary's going to get on the back of him here.
Yeah.
I remember racing a previously Gary round. He's not going to do it like that.
That's the end of that for Gary as well.
He's not going to do it spinning round like that, and good job he's not used the reset button, because that'll dock him championship points, Kelly. I don't know who uses the reset
Thanks
button.
for that, Matt. I learned that one myself.
No worries, mate.
Yeah,
it's
one of the first ones. One of the first ones I've seen to lose it on that uphill chicane.
Is that just how much he's pushing, though, that he's hit it a bit too hard?
Yeah, maybe. It's you got to be sat in the car and watching the championship slip away from you a little bit, haven't you? Because he is going to lose the lead of the championship after this race.
He's going to lose it, and he's going to be a bit behind as well. So,
he's going to lose it to two people, to both the Shakes and Bakes.
He's going to drop straight down to third place, isn't he? It's not like he's just going to lose out to D Biggs, who he's tied with, which you can kind of go, well, he finished in front of me, so it's going to happen. He's going to lose out to Dan as well. Bethany and Duffin, someone called Jamie's house phone. Does that go against the retire rules?
It's not if it rings, it's if he picks it up.
It's if he answers. And I know Jamie's home alone tonight, so no one will be on the phone. Liam saying, does that go against the retirement rules? If there's enough evidence to prove that you didn't retire for a reason of what's the point? If there was a genuine reason, instead of throwing a tantrum and chucking your toys out the pram, there was obviously a clear reason there. Liam stopped exit of the chicane, and you saw his pedals wasn't doing anything. His brake was working, but his accelerator was giving nothing. So no, that one will not go against you. It is a shame, but it won't go against you. Not like we don't
want to lose anybody, really, do we? We want as many cars on track as possible. Disco Face, bring on Red Bull tomorrow. Yeah, I'm with you, dude. Yeah, Red Bull for the win.
He's on about the Red Bull Ring tomorrow. GTE's here at Simplay Motorsport tomorrow night, 8 p.m. BST.
I was getting excited about Formula 1 there for a minute.
You just want to see a Honda do well. Speaking of Hondas doing well, Sutty's back up to 6th.
Yes, we were on board with Sutty just a minute ago. He is back up to 6th. So pretty much best of the rest, really. Yeah,
Well, we say best of the rest, but that actually may as well be Gary at the moment, because he's not drove like a championship leader, has he?
No, indeed, and I don't know what's going on with him. How's Jamie getting on? Is he reeling Craig back in a bit? He is, but I think he's going to run out of laps before he really can get to Little Leach, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Liam saying that I didn't, the game forced me, and of course I forgot about that. The game, after being sat still for so long, will force retire you after about 20 or 30 seconds or whatever it is. So of course I actually forgot about that rule. So that one, Liam, me and Kelly saw on the footage that you couldn't even get the accelerator working, so that'll be fine. Phil Naylor, Albion for race 2, thumbs up. Get the thumbs up. Get Phil. Yeah. Get on, because Sutty had a second place. It could be an Acora 1-2.
In qualifying, Phil. In qualifying.
It could be an Acora 1-2.
Well, on the reverse grid, or the half that can't qualify. Well, yes, got a chance then. Come on, Phil, dust off that Acora.
Heavier rain, though, for qualifying too, so we're led to believe. So I don't think slicks will be the way to go for Sooty, but it clearly had a bit of pace around here. Sooty made it work for a lap, so we'll have to say Sooty, in fact, is only 19 seconds off the back of Gary, and Gary struggled in this race, so don't count Sooty out. Maybe not qualifying for that second part of this race, maybe being able to finish in the top 5. The wall, come on, Danny says, and Bethany and Duffin, come on, Little Leach.
Yeah, wow. Turncoat or what?
The wall also says, hi, Matt and Kelly. Evening, the wall.
Hello, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, nice to see you here. 21 people watching, 15 likes, guys. Let's get to 20 likes. Let's do it for Beth's birthday. Let's get to 20 likes for Beth's birthday. 11 starters, so Sooty can't qualify at the moment. Actually, Daniel, yes, he can, because it's lower than 12. Half the grid can't qualify. So 11 and 10 is 5. 12 and 13 is 6. 14, 15 is 7. 16 is the top 8. Anything 10 or lower is just 5. So, anything 11, 10 or lower is just 5. So Sooty can qualify for the next one. Maybe if Sooty sends me a setup, says Phil. Slick tyres, so we're led to believe.
Slick tyres, apparently, mate.
Here's Big Boy Brazier then, just slowly catching Little Leach a little bit.
He is. Yeah, he is catching him. He's been within a second and then dropped out again. So, he's getting there. But maybe Jamie's eyeing up that last podium position, maybe as a consolation for it all going kind of wrong. But as I said, we'll see. He's within a second of him again. We'll see what Jamie can do. See if he can get a podium out of this one.
Yeah, indeed. It's going to be an interesting battle to the end of this one. No matter what happens, it's going to be absolutely fantastic to see. But Dan, he's been classed as, he's been pinned as the king of the wet, the Rainmeister, if you will. That's the word I was looking for, the king of the wet. That's a bit silly. The Rainmeister is unorthodox, and who can forget the battle at Imola last season, himself and D Biggs. Not a team battle either, two separate drivers, but for 16 laps followed each other and was trading places and lap times, but was gone. And for the race win, Dan took it in the end after D Biggs made one little error. And Dan has done the same thing tonight. He has led a fantastic race. Will he be the quickest? I don't know, because Jamie was out in front quite a lot at the beginning when it was drier. So Gary in the pits.
Oh, what's Gary in the pits for? On lap 17.
Has he got damage?
Not fuel.
No.
No.
That car is a bit crabby when he puts the foot down. Well, Gary then might be able to qualify for race 2. So Sooty should get past him. This stop.
The quickest stop. If he had a lot of damage, that wouldn't have been that quick, would it?
No. Now, interesting one for Gary, that. I'm not sure what that pit stop was all about. Can Sooty get him with a couple of laps to go? Dan the Rainmeister says the wall slow and steady, Little Leach. You are consistent and steady. Well, he's got to be a bit quicker than slow and steady, Smithy, because he's all over the back of him. I think he needs your pointers on a podium in the wet after Zuai Bud, but he needs to get his foot down. Beth saying Little Leach points for the team's championship. Well, he's not going to score that many because Gary's down in 6th. As Sooty is in a P5. He's flying. Didn't want to take his double points tonight, did Sooty not?
Gary's gone round again.
Gary's now 7th.
Again.
Oh,
he's
wow.
Gonna be lapped.
There's a picture for you. Unorthodox and D Biggs lapping Gary 131. Well,
that's going to make Gary's heart sink to see those two Porsches go past him for him to be lapped.
Yeah, he's nearly being lapped by his brother and Jamie Brazier as well. So this is going to be a shorter race for Gary. It's just not worked for him, has it?
What did I say about disastrous races at the beginning? Do you know what I mean? How things can go badly wrong. Little Leach right up on the grass. But as I say, it's Honda grass. There's loads of grip on it. And Little Leach stays ahead. But this time, Jamie is all over the back of him.
Don't forget when Jamie was this close last time around, though, Kelly. He made that mistake at the final corner and dropped well off the back of Little Leach. Can he now get this done? I'm not sure. Gary had repairs done there, says Daniel Francis. I agree, to be fair. It was a relatively good stop.
Very quick stop,
And then he's had the spin after. Gary definitely struggling with something tonight, and he's going to be able to qualify for the second race. But to be lapped by your championship rivals, that's not what you want to see.
No, maybe that's the saving grace. Maybe that he can qualify for the next one and maybe put it on the
put it on pole and get it front. Yeah, put it on pole and get away.
Oh, Jamie's gone again.
He's lost the rear, and that is that one. That is that one done. He's now he's not going to be able to get Little Leach now as we head on to the final lap. Dan's already coming halfway round the track. Sooty is a mile back, so he's not going to get Big Boy Brazier, but Little Each will get on the podium.
Yeah.
What a shame. Robbed
Yeah,
of
indeed.
a battle.
Yes, but we're going to have new championship leader, that's for certain, sure. And this will be race number 7 for Dan, will it?
Race win number 7 for Dan. He's got to
Number
get
7.
there
I
first.
remember his first one at Bruno, in the wet,
Yeah.
in the Porsche.
Imola,
So,
in the wet, in the Porsche.
Yeah.
Where
He's
else
some boy
is...
in wet.
He has. He's some boy in the Porsche.
Yeah, in the dry as well. He's some boy.
Not just in the wet.
Taught him everything he knows.
This will be Dan's
And then he
7th
got better
win.
with it.
And it'll be his 7th win on his 50th appearance. He will tie
Yeah.
with Monkey Boy,
Yeah.
Mazda and Sooty on 7 wins apiece. He'll be 11 behind Jamie, he'll be 9 behind Gary, and only 3 behind Fury after Fury's great season in the Pro-Am at the minute. But it is going to be on Orthodubs on race number 50 at Simplay Motorsport. On Orthodubs is going to take the first win of the night, and round 15 goes his way. That's
we're happy with
back-to-back
that.
wins in the championship. D Biggs, yet another podium. Solid from him. Little Each is going to come home in 3rd place unless he drops it, but he's on the straight now, so he's not going to do that. Gary, a lap down in 6th. Not the night for him. He's going to have to qualify for the next one. Little Each, though, in 3rd. Great result for him. Jamie Brazier back in 4th place. That was Welsh. He just had a Little Each there, a lap down in P9. No points for Liam or Disco. Monkey Boy is P8 a lap down and Peaceful P7 a lap down. Sooty Apex, Jamie P4, but Sooty Apex, who is
Solid race.
still on his last lap, but a P5 in the Acora. He's technically only lost 3 positions after his race start.
Yeah, absolutely. P5 out of 9. Yeah, solid race.
Out of 9, actually out of 11, 2 retired. So
Wow, yeah. But
you know what, Kelly? You know what they say, don't you?
To finish first,
to finish
first you've got to
you
finish.
have to finish. So that's what he's done. That is exactly what he's done. As we just wait for him to cross the line, then Gary 131, the King has it, no pressure. I don't know, the pressure is on. Woohoo, says Peaceful Stepdad. Well done, Dan, and well done, great drive down from Disco and Fury's granddad. Nice to see they can find their lights button at the line. With a tongue sticking out emoji for Daniel Francis. 20 people watching, 16 likes. Sooty Apex, the last man to cross the line. He now, there goes the 1-2 for the Acora in race 2, because Sooty can't qualify. But I'm sure he'll take the P5. Oh, actually, no, he'll probably take the pole position. Fastest lap of the race, 126.6 for Dan, 126.4 for Jamie. So Jamie taking the fastest lap of the race. Which will give him the extra point. At least Dan doesn't get the extra point if you're Gary 131. So we're going to take a very quick break and we'll be back in just a few moments. Guys, don't go anywhere. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Go and grab yourself a coffee and have a quick toilet break. We'll be back in about 5 to 10 minutes.
You're the night sky trying to make me see your stars, but the dark gets so lonely. Now I see violet, I can feel silence, and the dark's all that I see. When your stars are burnt out and your heart makes no sound, I'll find violet in your eyes. You'll always be my night sky.
Getting hype when I aim up, elevating that game up, stepping up to the competition. Only first place, and that's how I'm living. I'm with it till they digging up my grave, eating all the things up on my plate. Game face when I step up into place. I was born and when I watched me elevate. I was born and when I watched me elevate. all in when I show up. Whole place about to blow up. Superior to that competition. I'm in first place, yeah, that's how I'm living. I'm with it till they digging up my grave. Eating all the things up on my plate. Game face when I step up in the place. I was born and when I watch me elevate. I was born and when I watch me elevate.
Broken dreams in my pocket. Golden thing round my neck like a locket. Carve your name in my mind, cause you caught it. You caught it. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you know it. Me under the street light at the young, so I could show you. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you're glowing. Me under the mezzanine, just so that I could show you. You're golden. Hey, you're golden. You're golden. Hey, you're golden. Golden. Laid on the carpet, eye to eye, glistening. No, I saw it. I saw it. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you know it. Me under the street light at the young, so I could show you. You're golden, golden. Honestly, you're glowing. Me under the mezzanine, just so that I could show you. You're golden. Hey, you're golden.
That's gone. Right, we're going to go live. Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, to Simplay Motorsport for round 16 of 22. We're just going to run you through the tables very quickly. Unorthodox leads the championship by 1 point from his teammate D-Biggs, with Gary now dropping to 11 behind, so work to do if you're Gary. 1-3-1. Little Each stays 4th, Jamie stays in 5th place, Monkey Boy stays in 6th, Peaceful up to 7th, and then Emo, Rabbit Joe, that Posy Boy don't change, neither does Disco. Phil and Sutty both go ahead of Andy, with Andy not being here tonight, and Welshie is only 1 point behind Andy now, so really tightening up at the bottom end of the field. Shake and Bake have a 74-point lead in the Constructors' Championship, and GQ Motorsport just gain a few points on Iron Brew Racing there, with Run Flat Straight Line Racing, dropping, going above Run Flat Racing. Top 5 can't qualify, so that is Unorthodox, D-Biggs, Little Each, Jamie Brazier and Sutty Apex cannot qualify for this race, and we've got the top 3 in the commentary box. We'll start with Craig. Little Each, decent race. You held off Jamie, he made the 2 mistakes, but nothing else other than that really.
No, it was quite a decent race. Jamie was putting pressure on me and he spun a couple of times, so I just poodled around after then.
You seem to have the pace in that car tonight over your brother and teammate tonight. Is the car feeling good? And if so, can you extract any more out of that to get on the back of the 2 that's in the commentary box with you?
I think I need to get, but I need to adjust the setup. It's very understeering. I need to adjust it a little bit, but yeah, apart from that, it's all good.
What's your thoughts going into race 2? The rain continues to fall. It looks a bit heavier and harder out there as well. So is it much more the same sort of? Just keep it on the track.
Keep it steady. Keep it on the track and see where we can get.
Best of luck, buddy, for race 2.
Thank you.
Sutty in the chat before we get to D-Biggs. We've got an upgrade for this race. We now have VTEC. So there we go.
Great.
The Acura has been upgraded. Dom, again, another race, another podium finish this season, but it keeps you in 2nd place. You've sort of just stayed where you are as Dan now pips you by a point, but Constructors' title looking very much like it's swinging in your favour.
Yes, can't ask for much more from that. As I said last week, I wasn't really looking forward to this round, so a 2nd place, I can't be happier than that.
You've taken a lot of podiums this year. There's only a handful of races you've not finished on the podium. The consistency is there for that title challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what a championship means. You need to be consistent. Again, as I said last week, if one of us has a bad round, it's going to be difficult to catch back up.
Yeah.
So it's about keeping it up there, top half of the field minimum.
With this rain coming in a bit more, Dom, and again looking heavier, what's your strategy for race 2 or the plan?
Steady at the start. Looks like I'm starting at the back, so nice and steady. See where we end up.
I wish you the best luck, mate. Kelly.
Yeah. Dom, do you find this track a little bit easier in the wet than other tracks around the world? I found it quite agreeable, I will say, in the wet. Unlike other tracks which when they get wet are really, really treacherous. I thought this one was quite not so bad. Do you find that?
Yeah, the puddles definitely are nowhere near as bad as other tracks, and the Porsche seems to, most tracks it likes the curbs and a bit of grass anyway, and it doesn't seem to be too phased by the wet and still using the curbs. So it's quite helpful.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck for the next one.
Cheers.
Indeed. We've got Dan as well. 50th appearance for Unorthodox and his 7th race win overall here at Simplay Motorsport. Dan, you must be buzzing with that performance.
Absolutely loved it. Loved every lap, and exactly what I needed to put myself back in the championship.
Now, obviously, the 50th appearance, it's a milestone, if you will, the half century, if you will, in cricket terms. You've managed to take your 7th victory. It takes you tied with Mazda, Sutty and Monkey Boy. which is 4th overall on that list. It's got to do. You've got to be looking happy at that list when you see it and you know you're tied 4th.
Yeah, and what I like about it as well, some of them have been in other categories, but majority of them have been in the pro class. And if you can do it in the pro class, then obviously you deserve to be here. So I'm thoroughly happy with 7 wins. Let's try and get as many before the end of the season, but it is going to be more consistency kind of approach to the rest of the season, and try and score as much points and make sure my rivals aren't as close to me.
Well, this goes on to my next question. D-Biggs now, your teammates, a point behind you. You lead the way. Gary's 11 behind. Although Gary's not out of it, is it still teamwork to make sure that Constructors is wrapped up, or are the gloves kind of starting to just come off as you're looking at maybe then taking the fight to D-Biggs?
We've come to a gentleman's agreement to focus on the team first. If we can get the championship wrapped up to maybe around before the end of the season, then it's gloves off between us. It's back to the GT5s as it is. So we just want to get that Constructors in the bag, and then from that point on we'll see where we are. So we've just got to get it in the bag first.
Just finally from myself, before I go to Kelly, are you concerned about Jamie still with his double points to take? Is he in the title mix in your head?
I think after tonight, I thought Jamie would have won that race. I was quite happy to sit behind him if he won it. But now he's dropped it on this one, and I don't know what he's going to be like for this race as well. He looks like he's starting near the back. It's going to be difficult for him to come through. So as long as I get a fairly decent setup at Le Mans, I think I will be able to hold him off. As long as I stay on track and consistent. That's all it is consistency.
That's it. Kelly?
Yeah, I was going to say, Dan, I've kind of, me and Matt have kind of badged you as the ultimate rainmeister at the moment. This being certainly, your first win at Bruno being in the wet, this one in the wet. When you found out it was wet this week, is that something you're just rubbing your hands and thinking this is an opportunity? Are you like, kind of, these are the races that you want now?
When I found out it was wet, it definitely made me feel better about this race.
Yeah.
As soon as I found out that it was wet conditions, I'm more suited in the wet anyway. I was struggling in the dry to keep it facing the right way. As soon as I did wet testing, it's been consistent lap times all the way around, and I've been feeling good. So as soon as it was wet, I was over the moon.
Mate, if you can take a win in the wet, then you're some boy, aren't you? That's all I can say.
Well, I've done it twice, so no, 3 times I think. 3 times now, so let's go for a 4th.
Well, we'll let you get back to it, Dan.
Thank you.
Right on. Good luck, Dan.
We've got a special guest in the commentary box. We've not heard him all season. He's not even here. But after his superb qualifying and out-qualifying Dan on outright pace, that Acura driver of Sooty Apex. Sooty, it's not often we've spoke to you this year in the Acura, but that car looks rapid.
I was 2.5 seconds up when I binned it that one before the lap I put it on second. I'd have been on pole by about a second.
Now, Sooty, let's have a sensible conversation without Matt getting wood on about it being an Acura, right? On the slicks, yeah? You did that on the slicks?
That was soft slicks, yeah.
Soft slicks, that is just crazy. How on the edge is that?
That was I was a bit twitchy most places. I just got the last corner wrong, like you see now. I even went up on my time. I got the last one up for the drag up the hill. And on the second one, I was actually on a cool down lap when I put the second place in. I was actually on a cool down, cooling everything back down to hit the next lap.
Yeah.
And I put it on set. I put it second. So I'm surprised nobody else tried the soft tyres, but I had nothing to lose. I knew my pace. I knew that the time
absolutely.
I put it with the wets was it. So I thought I'll give it a go.
How was the race pace though, Sooty, in that Acura? I mean, it looked mega in terms of the qualifying pace on the soft tyre. Did you try the softs at the start? Was the problem?
No, I just really struggle with the wets. Tyre pressures again. For some reason the rear is just absolutely all over the shop. I don't know what it is.
High?
Yeah, it was going about 26, 27, and then I think my brake bias was slightly out as well. So when I was braking, it was locking the rears, and the rear was going a bit unstable. But the problem with the Acura is you've just got to trim it out downforce. You've just got to try your best, so it's always quite twitchy anyway.
Well, sorry, go on, Kelly.
Sorry, next season, Acura?
I think Phil's pretty keen as well not to see the Acura ever again.
And that's all we
might say that.
That's all we got time for from Sooty Apex. He's not leaving the group now. Best he's been down.
Yeah.
God,
we have actually had an upgrade for the engine for this meeting, and we've now got VTEC.
Oh, the old little the toddlers' toys that sing the songs to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got from one gerbil in a wheel to twin gerbils in a wheel.
We'll let you get back to it.
You've been down to Halfords and been down to Halfords and been across to McDonald's and pitched an engine out of one of the boy racers ones, have you?
That's it. Yeah, we just drove the car through Halfords, just hoping for the best with a magnet on the road.
So we'll let you get back to it now. Qualifying's done. Good luck, mate.
Lads. I catch you later.
Right on. Good luck.
Yeah.
So Gary 131. Look at that pole time, Kelly. 1:23.5. That would have been a tenth slower than Jamie, which would have put him on that front row of the grid in race 1. What tweaks has he made to the setup here as he's looking for that pole? Welshie is done in 7th place, and that Monkey Boy in 6th, and that Bozzy Boy currently 5th place.
Well, now you say about Gary's pace, and I've been kind of keeping an eye on him on and off. And as we just cut to him there, as we were talking, he went over on the grass. And I want to see Gary do well. I want him to take it back now to Dan and D Biggs, and that's what I want. But he had another spin coming up through the uphill chicane, so I don't know if he's got that exactly where he wants it. I don't know if he's really still struggling on setup with that Porsche.
Well, let's see what he does. Maybe he was just trimming it out a bit for the qualifying. He's just going to change a few bits for the race. But he has pole position, and that is the 4th pole of the season. Tied with Andy and Big Boy Brazier on 4 pole positions this year. Gary 131 has that to his name. Disco McDisco face lines up second, and I tell you what, won a Cora second in race 1, won a Cora third race 2. It's outdoing the Mercedes-Benz tonight, which Monkey Boy and Peaceful won't enjoy that. The Acura a bit quicker than the Mercs. Peaceful 4th with Liam back in 5th. Hopefully he's got his pedals sorted out. Monkey Boy then starts 6th with Welshie in 7th place, and then it's the non-qualifiers. Little Eats the first one in 8th with Dan in 9th, and he's the highest of the 3 championship contenders here, and he'll enjoy that one. Sutty in P10 with Jamie in 11th, D Biggs in 12th, and I said Dan was the highest of the 3 title contenders. Gary's on pole. Just remembered that one.
That's kind of completely ruins that fact. Yeah, absolutely.
Unless the title contenders are just him and D Biggs, but I don't think Gary, 11 points behind, is quite out the title yet.
No, it's not over, not by a long shot.
What that has done for that Bozzy Boy as well is he's kept him with an average qualifying of 5th place in the second qualifying round, and everybody's second average qualifying is a bit better because they're all sort of all over the place. But Kelly, who is your money on in this race 2?
Who's my money on in this race 2? And I know people will say I'm biased, but I think Dan can do it again. I think he can do it again. I certainly see him on the podium. Jamie's got such pace, hasn't he? But it's not the easiest place to overtake here. It's going to be won and lost in the first lap, I think.
The thing for me is
certainly the major positions will be sorted out.
The thing for me, Kelly, with this one is we've got an extra car on the grid in Phil for this second race. Is what kind of carnage are we going to get? Now, we've seen in the Pro that he's not going to get as much carnage as you are in the Pro-Am, but with that rain being heavier, these earlier laps, what kind of dramas are these cars going to have? And with it being the reverse grid, if Liam's pedals just cut out on him mid-chicane and he's got Dan or D Biggs right behind him, and they go into him, obviously not intentionally, but if Liam's pedals cut out like they did race 1, disaster. Anything can happen on the reverse grid. We see it in the touring cars, we can see it on the Simplay.
Absolutely, and we've said it time and time again. And this time 20 laps ago we were saying about how things could change in the championship, and they have, because Gary's now on the back foot, but he is on pole, so he's in the best position to win this one. So let's see what happens as we're underway.
Clear track in front of him, the red lights are on, and we're green here. Gary's not got a great start compared to Disco, but the BMW again looks struggling with traction off the line. Jamie's already took to the grass to try and get around Dan, as Jamie looked like he got a good launch but can't get past him, and Gary leads into turn 1 as we're all through pretty clean yet again. Phil hanging on to 3rd, Welshie and Liam up to 4th and 5th, so them two got a good launch.
Dan's up to 6th.
Yeah, Dan's already up to 6th. Monkey Boy's dropped down the order, and D Biggs, we said about the consistency, he's dropped down to last place. So what's happened there? Gary's got away well, Dan's now up to 5th. Oh, that's Liam who's had a spin. That's Liam. Yeah, Liam's had a spin. Oh,
Disco's
that's Disco.
round as well.
Oh, not the night for Disco here tonight. He has struggled at the moment. That's allowed Dan now up into 4th place. And Dan knows Welshie's lost a car. Welshie's lost it, so Dan's now up into 3rd.
Up into 3rd, but Gary's 2.5 seconds, 3 seconds away. He's checked out in half a lap. Can he keep that kind of pace? The Acura in second. Calm down, Matt.
Yeah, don't get me started. We're going.
Dan is up to third. From where did he start? Ninth
on the grid. But I tell you what, though, Kelly, the rain is a lot worse, and Disco's gone. We've lost Disco at the end of lap 1, so it's not been his night again. That's 3 retirements and a non-start in his last 4 races, so no points in 4 races for Disco McDisco Face. We're back down to 11 drivers then, and there is Little Each on the grass, and he just tucks it in ahead of Jamie, but that was a bit sketchy there. Dan can chase down Phil.
Absolutely, and he's within a second of him. I was going to say Little Leach and Jamie Brazier 2.0, because they're right behind Jamie's right behind him again, so that one's got to be a watch. But we've also got to watch. That's just lap 1. That's just lap 1 over and done with. Dan is chasing down Phil in the Acura, but Gary's trying to check out and trying to make amends for what happened in the first race. He needs to crack on.
Oh, Dan's had a switch in the background.
Wide.
Dan's had a huge twitch and rejoins as Peaceful Explosion was coming up the inside of the chicane, so maybe a bit of an unsafe rejoin there. That's cost him to lose a couple of places as Dan has to yield that space out of the chicane, but that's now put him behind Little Each and Jamie. Little Each now can have the world's widest Porsche, and Dan then, with a mistake all on his own, Kelly, has lost him a couple of places.
Yeah, it looked like he just run wide out of that corner. Probably just went in a little bit deep. There's more water on the track, as we said, and maybe he just got in a little bit deep. And easy to do on that corner. He's now on the back foot, and how quickly things change. 3rd to 6th, and he's now got some quick people in front of him. He's got Jamie, Little Leach, all these people to get past. Looks like Peaceful's turning into a little bit of a Yano.
Oh, Dan!
He's gone again.
And well avoided by Monkey Boy and Sooty, and D Biggs as Dan reverses and flicks the car around. Disco Face car is almost perfect in the qualifying. Turn to the race, no grip at all, for no reason. He can't explain it, just makes no sense. Everyone else is grand, but my tyre's glowing after one corner, so strange that one for Disco. Maybe try reloading the setup as Jamie looking up the inside a little each now, and that's a bit of a send it manoeuvre up the inside, but his elbows out and job done for Jamie. Dan though struggling in these wetter conditions, the king of the wet, the rain meister, not doing so well. With these 3 battling, look who's pulling away in second.
Yes, indeed, and you're quite right. Peaceful holding these guys up a little bit. All these quick guys he's got behind him, so that's giving Phil a little bit of space. But Gary is now, we're 2.5 laps in, and Gary's now 6 seconds ahead. Dan's going to have to regroup and do some consistent lap times and hope for a good pit stop and be able to make some places up.
Jamie's got ahead of Peaceful Explosion then, so he's got that move done as well a couple of corners ago. So Jamie is ahead now of both the Mercedes-Benz and Little Each in the Porsches. Little Each going up the inside of Big Boy of Peaceful Explosion, and that's that job done. Peaceful goes very wide, and that's that job done if you're Peaceful. In the background, D-Big's making moves on Monkey Boy, a bit of a tap there, and Monkey Boy has to yield the position. Sooty's up to 6th after being at the back of the pack, so good couple of laps from Sooty, but Dan now has it all to do, and he's there in the background, not yet on the back of them cars, but he's now going to be the problem. Kelly, for Dan is, if he overdrives the car trying to push getting back through, that can lead to more problems. Dan has got to stay calm and get back on the tail of these cars.
That's what Dan keeps telling me when he's playing my race engineer. It's patience, 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 and he's got to practice what he preaches now. We know he's got pace, and he's just got to do the numbers game now. Do you know what I mean? Keep the lap times tumbling, have a nice quick pit stop, and just keep himself out of trouble. Jamie is now reeling Phil in at a rate of knots, as you expect him to.
And it's a shame as well, because Jamie just made a couple of mistakes race 1, otherwise he maybe would have had that race win in the first race, because he was well clear of Dan, wasn't he, but made the mistake that gave him damage. We didn't see it, but then we saw the 2 mistakes he made behind Little Each, so maybe Jamie now, you don't want to be out there though, Jamie. That's going to hurt his attack of Phil going down into the bottom part of into the Sooty Sendit corner, as Phil then will hang on for P2, and Acora's been on the podium now for 4 laps in this race.
Yeah, Tom, and I've said it many times and I'll say it again, to the point that people will get bored of hearing it, that sun shines on a dog's arse some days.
It'd be nice though for Phil and Sutty to get something
It
good.
would.
This is probably been their best opportunity of the season for them to have a great night. You'd love to see it. You want to see the drivers have a good night.
Of course you do.
Liam had his zoo high. As Monkey Boy there, bit of a wobble on the curb in the background, and that's going to give Dan a free opportunity to get up one place. So Dan ahead of Monkey Boy then after a mistake in the Mercedes-Benz. Job done. Biggs on the back of Sutcliffe. Sutty Apex versus D Biggs, and D Biggs now pulls out up the start straight, and that Acura will have nothing in defence of the Porsche, especially with it being around the outside. I tell you what, it's keeping it honest. It's keeping it honest in the wet, isn't it?
Straight line was keeping it honest, absolutely. So D Biggs has cleared Sutty. Dan's going to be on the scene very, very shortly afterwards.
Jamie's got past Phil.
Yes, you're right. Jamie has got past Phil. He's done that just recently. He's in front. So Peaceful dropping down the order a little bit, not being able to take it forward very well just recently, which has been a shame. And we always want to see Peaceful do well. But let's get in front, because here we go. Look, Little Leach on Phil now. He's going to have a crack at him down this straight. I don't think he's going to have the ultimate pace down here, but down the straight. But I think it's inevitable that Little Leach is going to get this one. So how things change? D Biggs in 6th, Dan in 8th, Gary in 1, Little Leach in 4. So you know how fortunes change from one race to another, isn't it? This is why I love this. Do you know what I mean? We have got a this isn't done just because Gary's had a bad race. This isn't done. Do you know what I mean? These guys are going to go at it all the way through the season.
Gary's had the bad race, and now Dan and D Biggs are having that bad race, as Dan has got past Sutty Apex then, but he's still only P7, so it's not great points if you're Dan at the moment in this one. Gary has checked out front. He's got 8 seconds back to Jamie. He's going to have to be wary though. Jamie was near enough a second quicker on that last lap, as Little Leach then is now up into 3rd, and the Acura just starting to struggle, but still a long way to go. And provided Phil can be consistent, we've seen drivers make mistakes, so this is maybe where Phil can capitalise. Here comes Peaceful looking for, in fact, what is Peaceful's best result of the season? We've not really seen Peaceful up there much. 5th place, so he's matching his best at the moment. We know Phil's had a good 4th or 5th to his name this year. I remember back at Spa, Phil took a 4th. He got a 5th last week at Silverstone, so Phil as well matching his best of the season.
I've just been sat here thinking about this, Matt. Dan's in 7th, 16 seconds off the lead, right?
Yeah.
16 seconds on the scale of things. A couple of spins, and that could come down pretty dramatically. So I'm thinking to myself, Dan's not out of it yet, right? It's not over yet. Right?
No.
But on the other hand, that's a strong top 3. Gary, Jamie, Craig. That is a strong podium.
And the thing is, as well, is Craig will have the world's widest Porsche.
Yeah.
When it's Dan and D Biggs. The other problem is Gary's not got the pressure to put the lap times in compared to Dan to close that gap. See, Gary can afford to be a bit more cautious through the corners than, say, Dan, who's maybe got to push it that bit harder to get it round and to make sure he's keeping up the pace, you know what I mean? Look at Gary there, he's lost another 9/10. That's Liam, who's off in the background. Liam now a lap down, so Liam struggling tonight, and he's already a lap. He's already a lap down. Dan, though, the first of the guys to come into the pits at the end of lap 6, so looking for the undercut here.
Yes, I mean look at Jamie's pace. Look, 26.7 the last one. He's the only man in the 26s, and he's bringing that gap down. The last time I had a quick glance was only about 10-15 seconds ago. It was 8 seconds out to Gary. Jamie is hunting him down.
And just looking at the points here, Gary at the minute 25, he'll score today in this one. Dan, now let's say he's 7th place still, because obviously people have still got to pit, as that's Liam there keeping well out the way.
Dan's gone back again.
No, he's pitted, hasn't he? He's pitted.
Oh, sorry, beg pardon. Yeah.
Pitted
sorry.
Again. Yeah. So let's say for the sake of it, Dan's 7th, because he's pitted and no one else has yet.
Yeah.
Dan's only going to score 9 points. D Biggs in 6th, he's only going to score 10. That puts Gary back in the championship lead by 4 points over D Biggs and over Dan at least, and maybe 5 in front of Biggs. So it really is. It's ebbing and flowing, isn't it?
Yeah. You got to love it, innit? Why bother buying a Sky subscription to have an F1 channel when it's all here? Tell your friends, get out there, all your motorsport fans. You tell them all the best racing is right here, and for free every week.
Every week,
and you get
you get sweet and sticky, not Brundle and Crofty.
You get boring and boring and boring. Do you know what I mean? You got us two instead.
Oh, look at Peaceful. Having a lunge up the
And
inside of
D-Biggs.
Phil. D-Biggs trying to follow Phil.
Right in
Phil
there.
having a bit of an argy-bargy back. And has that allowed D-Biggs to come through Phil? It has. Up to 5th. Phil kind of got bullied out of that one there, didn't he?
He did. Oh, as D-Biggs just bashed into the back of Peaceful. I don't know if he outbraked himself there a little bit or whatever. But
bit of a steward's inquiry after, maybe?
Sorry?
Bit of a steward's inquiry after, do we think?
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe.
One of these touring car push to pass, as they kept saying at Brands Indy the other day.
You mean Matt Neal? Matt Neal, as we like to call it.
I like to call it a Jason Plato, but I mean, if you want to call it a Matt Neal, by all means, carry on.
I think Matt's been more guilty of it over the years than Jason, although Jason's had his fair share. I think there was a few push to passes at Brands Indy last week. Let me tell you that one. There was a few push to pass there. Yeah, not just in the touring cars, in some of the support races as well, but that's the brilliance of Brands Indy. Gary then, 7.1 in the lead of Jamie Brazier. Jamie's time's just coming down a bit. Gary's sort of staying as they were. So that to me would say that Gary's just cruise control. I think the top two have stabilised a little bit. Gary's really stabilised the gap off a little bit. He's picked his pace up a little bit. And Jamie's has dropped off just a tad, which is... as I say, stabilise things. As I said, that's a strong top three. I would be surprised if that's not the way that things finish. But hey, D-Biggs has dragged himself back into 4th. So that's damage control, isn't it? Damage limitation for Shake and Bake. We'll see how it all pans out when the pit stops are done. Is Dan in clear air? He is, isn't he? He's
got 7 seconds back to Monkey Boy. He's 7 seconds behind Monkey Boy, so he's got some clear air to do quick laps. Lapping the same as Gary in the lead. Look, a 10th quicker than Gary on the last lap for Dan. So lapping at the leader's pace here. The problem you won't want is for him to catch the cars in front and them not pit till the very end of the race. You want to sort of make sure they're pitting as he's gaining on them. Yes, indeed. So we'll see. Interesting on strategy to see how that's going to pan out as we get deeper into this race. Peaceful just looking a bit deep at the Sooty Sendit corner on Phil and couldn't get that one done, ran a bit wide. Now look at Sooty Apex in the background. He was quicker than both these guys last time round, and I think last lap was when Peaceful had his moment with D-Biggs and went a little wide after his push. Gary in the pits. Gary's in the pit. I was just going to say, you saw Peaceful run wide on the grass. This grass is grippy, very, very grippy grass. Honda grass. It must be the grass and the curbs are really quite good round here. Do you know what I mean? They're not D-Biggs. No! D-Biggs, he's coming to the pits. He's got himself a time penalty. That'll be at least 10 seconds. That's the minimum for speeding in the pit lane. Sooty as well comes into the pits. And D-Biggs' race, bad to worse. How good's the shake and bake pit stop? Gary gone, and Unorthodox hasn't yet. He's only up the start straight as Gary's well gone. Great stop from the shake and bake boys yet again. Has Dan cleared his teammate? I think he has. Yeah, he has. Yeah, done that one then. So Dan's got that job done. So he's cleared. Biggs in the pits. And these two will be racing now, although D-Biggs, 10 seconds penalty to his time at the end, may want to let Dan stay out in front here. But Dan still a way off the back of Gary. Yes, indeed. Actually, no, I say that. Sorry, he's only 9 seconds. Sorry. Apologies. No, Dan is only 9 seconds off the back of Gary as Liam's in the pits. Yep, D-Biggs has got a 10-second penalty. You're quite right. And, Dan is, what did you say, 8 seconds off Gary? Well, looking at the timing screen, Gary's 20 seconds off the lead. Dan's only 29, so that's 9 seconds by my book. Yeah. Yes, indeed. So still all to play for. Jamie's staying out. Little Leach staying out. We're on lap 10, or the leaders have just started lap 11. So a little way to go in this race. It's getting wetter and wetter. Heavy rain on this one as opposed to light rain. All still to play for. Daniel Francis saying, you called us speeding last night, Matt. I did, and no one got it, but they've done it tonight. And you said earlier, Kelly, as well, it's so easy to speed in this pit lane where it is. And D-Biggs has fell victim to that. Phil then into the pits at the end of lap 10, so he's in for his stop. You'd imagine. Who else has come in? Dan Somebody would else. Get that. That's Peaceful. Yeah, so Peaceful in as well. So that's freed them two up, and that's gave Dan another couple of places. P5 for Dan now. So the early pit stop for Dan has really worked for him. puts him up to P5. You'd imagine, oh, look at that, look, just drive through Phil, and Phil will drive straight back through you. Physics in the pits don't seem to work very well, do they?
No, don't. As
Sutty gets past Phil and Peaceful, but Sutty pitted last lap, so that's a couple of places for him as well.
Yeah, Project Cars pit lane is a very strange place. Very, very strange place.
Yes.
No rules really apply there, do they?
No, not really. Dan lapping low 127s. He now maybe has something to push for and push hard for, because when Monkey Boy pits, he'll have clear air and he'll see Gary 131. What he doesn't want to do though is, while this rain is still falling and falling heavy, is push too hard. Jamie then staying out on track, and he stays out for one more lap 12 of 20. Is he trying to overcut Gary? 22 seconds back to Gary. Jamie's had pace over him. Is that enough to 22, 21 seconds? Is that enough, do we think, to get in and out ahead of Gary?
What's he got? 21 seconds? No, I don't think it is enough, is it?
No,
I don't. No, not at all. So Dan's now coming up. He's within a second now of Monkey Boy. As you can see, Monkey Boy just going up the hill, and Dan coming up behind him. When does Monkey Boy pit, or is Dan going to have to do it the old-fashioned way on track?
Now, this is what we were saying, wasn't it, a little earlier, Kelly, is Dan now, in that bit of traffic, may find himself that he's just going to have to back off his lap times a little bit. He's going to have to try and find his way past, isn't he? Because Monkey Boy don't have to give him the position, even though he's not pitted yet. Well within his rights to fight for it. Is this where we start to see Dan make the mistakes?
Well, possibly, yeah. This is...
who's
that? That's Liam again, is it?
Yeah.
Liam again.
Struggling tonight.
Yeah, he is struggling, bless him. Yeah, not having the round he would like at all. Maybe that's where, Dan could make mistakes. And this is the key, isn't it? This is what makes good drivers. You've got to, take this pressure. So, Dan... Monkey Boy can, as we know, anybody can. Nobody has to move out the way for anybody in this series. As Jamie's pitted, so even the back markers don't have to get out of the way. And Monkey Boy's not a back marker; he's racing for position. So why should he give it up?
Exactly. Craig in as well. So Little Each pitting on the same lap. So that should free Gary, we'd imagine. Where is Gary? That's him on the track map coming up the hill. Keep your eye on the two dots in the pits. One still moving is Little Eats. The other one, stationary, is Jamie, who is just away now. Has he got enough to Gary? I tell you what, that could have been a great strategy going longer. I think he's done him. He has?
He has done him.
Great stop. That is a great stop. Little Each is coming out the pits. Where's Dan? Little Each coming out. As Little Each. I don't know just yet. Yeah, he just done him there. Craig has to get onto the brakes as he saw Dan coming as well. So Craig now has got to keep on that pressure to Dan. Monkey Boy came into the pits this lap as well. So Dan now is the car behind Gary by 6 seconds is the gap between Dan and Gary. And Gary 3 seconds behind Jamie. What a strategy from Jamie Brazier.
Absolutely. Jamie's just pulled the rug right out from underneath Gary on this one. And... is back in the lead this race with 4 seconds in hand, thereabouts.
I think Gary made a mistake last lap. Look at his lap time, 1:31. That to me isn't the pace of Gary 131. I know Dad did a 29, so the track getting wetter and slower, but a 1:31 seems a bit off the pace if you Gary 131, and that's maybe is that what's cost him that couple of seconds for Jamie to do him?
Yeah, it could be. And as we've seen, nobody in this field is without mistakes. They happen to all of them. So it could still flip the other way. But certainly Jamie looking in the box seats at the moment. To win this one. But great recovery drive from both of the Shake and Bakes, to be fair, because D Biggs is only just behind Little Leach. So both the Shake and Bake Porsches are on a great recovery drive with 6 laps to go. I
was going to say that, Kelly, how we said about it ebbing and flowing. Well, they was 6th and 7th earlier on, and now they're 3rd and 5th, so it's going well, although D Biggs needs to make sure he keeps pulling away from Sutty to make sure that he doesn't fall foul of that 10-second time penalty that he picked up for speeding in the pit lane. Dan's also got to make sure he keeps it on the track, because if he doesn't, he's going to lose the 2 places to Little Each and D Biggs, but should get D Biggs back on the time penalty, you'd imagine, but does not want to get fall behind the car we're on board now, which is Craig. Although I think Gary may have made another mistake as well, because that gap between him and Dan is down to 4 seconds.
Right, what's Daniel's mindset at the moment? He's had an horrendous couple of laps, and he's done a great job to drag it back to the podium. With all the pit stops said and done, Dan is on the podium. So, put yourself in Dan's seat now.
Yeah.
Do you roll up behind Gary and just take it home? Because let's face it, that's damage limitation after the start we had. Or do you attack? Yeah, is it consistency, or is it green, red mist, and got to have that position?
I think in these conditions you sit behind and take the points.
Well, that's what you and me say. I mean,
obviously, you say put yourself in the mind of Dan. If I'm Dan now, I sit and take the points.
I
sit behind Gary. I take a third place.
Yeah.
You're not catching Jamie. Jamie's gone. Unless Jamie has a mistake, Jamie's gone. I maybe get closer to Gary, maybe try and force an error, but I stay in third.
I'd be more concerned with Little Leach behind me than Gary in front of me. I think that would be my mindset. Would be to be keeping my times consistent, keeping my braking and apex is good, so I don't drop it, and Little Leach doesn't catch me. I'd be more worried about keeping that gap and maintaining that third than I would be about chasing second.
I wouldn't chase second, but I'd make sure that Gary knows I'm there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that one mistake, and I'm on the back of Gary. Has Jamie made an error? Because they've caught him by a couple of seconds here. Gary was 10 seconds behind him last lap at this point. He was now 7.5. So has Jamie just had a bit of a mistake this lap around?
Maybe.
The track just getting wetter people are starting to fall foul of it, but Gary has definitely dropped off the back of Jamie and has now got Dan within a second of him. So Dan here, keeping up Dan's mentality is, I'm going for it, clearly, because he's not
he's the quickest man on track.
If it was dry, I'd attack Gary, but in these conditions I'd happily take the third place, because what's the difference? 5 points is the difference depending on the fastest lap. Gary's 11 behind you, so although he's going to gain 5, you're still scoring better than him. You're still 6 ahead of him in the championship, and it's Gary that's still got to do the work then going to Le Mans next week. But Dan clearly thinking attack, because he's within a second now.
Wow, it's still better to be in front and be scoring more points than your rivals. So
of course it is.
He can see that. He can see that Porsche. He can see him getting closer. You're quite right. Gary, put pressure on Gary. We know these two can race close. They did it last week.
One of
the greatest races. One of the best ones I've seen.
Not the most entertaining in terms of the race, but the ebb and flow of Gary's defence and Dan's attack for 10 or plus laps was just phenomenal.
No! Dan's dropped it.
That's the mistake. That's the mistake we said Dan couldn't do, and Dan clearly not doing what me and you said, Kelly, of take the third. He's fell behind Little Leach. Now, luckily enough, D-Big's too far behind. On the Sutty Send-It corner. Is Dan just pushing too hard to catch Gary? He's now got to push hard to get Little Leach, because there goes.
I'd be done with pushing hard. I'd be bringing it home.
The points difference now is not 5. Yeah, the points difference now is not 5, it's 7. So Gary will be 4 behind Dan, depending on fastest lap going into next week. But
and Gary will know. He'll be in a party with Little Leach, and he'll know that Dan's dropped it. I mean, he'll see that he's dropped it.
Gary will be telling Craig that if Dan gets on the back of him, make your Porsche the widest Porsche on this track. If and let's be honest, you've drove around this track as well. It's very easy to defend around here. It's not a very wide circuit, and the overtaking's hard. So Craig can defend a lot easier. And with it being wet, that makes it that bit harder to overtake than what it was in the dry. Now, though, Dan does not want a few more moments like that, because any more moments like that, as he's on to the grass
again. Dan, chill out.
He's pushing too hard, Kelly. He's pushing way too hard. And this could cost it. I tell you what, he's got to. Alright, if he falls behind Biggs, he's probably still going to get 4th, because he may not finish 10 seconds behind him. Yeah. But if he drops 10 seconds
back, there's a huge gap
Biggs to Sutty's 13 seconds. He's 15 seconds ahead of Sutty. So he's got to have a heck of an off for Sutty to catch him. As Welshie comes into the pits. Welshie the only man then not to pit until lap 17. Lap 16, sorry, he's on. So he's in the pits for his regular stop. And, well, Jamie's got this one in the bag. Gary has just been gifted second, because you won't imagine that Little Leach will be allowed to overtake if he gets on the back of him.
No, you would have thought that team orders would come into this, and yeah, as well she gets away. I do like that colour of that Porsche. I think next year I'll have a blue one like that. But anyway, we digress.
It is nice. No, it is nice.
It's pretty. It is pretty. It's much prettier than our colour scheme.
Anyway. Was that Gary just going through? Yeah, that's Gary going through to put a lap on Welshie. There is Little Leach, and then there was Dan in the background. Dan still pushing to get on the back of Little Leach. That gap's back down to 1.7 seconds. I wouldn't be pushing with 3 laps to go. I just think
I just don't think he's going to achieve anything from it. Do you know what I mean? Little Leach ain't going to let him through.
No.
He ain't going to roll over and let Dan pass. And the chance of another mistake is too high. It's too high.
Yeah, and what's also the chances of another Davis rolling over?
Well, it happens.
Sorry.
Couldn't help yourself, could you?
Yeah, you said about rolling over. I was just
yeah, that's what kind of triggered it. But yeah,
Smithy's in the chat as well, so he knows about rolling people over.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Smithy knows all about rolling over. I'm still picking his bumper out of my door, you know. So it's us Davises know how to be on our roofs. That's for sure. Dan's been on his roof a few times. But I tell you what, in all the years of driving cars, I've never been in a car that's rolled. Not an experience I ever want, to be fair. But
I'm sure nobody does. But yeah,
no, but no, I've never been in a car that's been on its roof. So but certainly having sim racing more than once.
So Dan then is within now a second of Little Leach, and he's still pushing for that extra place. We go on to lap 19 of 20 as Dean Wasocki high all again. Well, where have you been, Dean? If you've missed it,
hello, Dean.
Where have you been? You said high all in the practice, and then high all again now. So where have you been, Dean?
He must have been so enthralled with the racing that he wasn't able to speak. Able to type. Yeah,
exactly. As Dan then is coming down.
Easiest rollover I've ever seen, Coach Smithy. Yeah, it did happen kind of easily. It must.
We said off air, didn't we? It wasn't. We said off air, didn't we, that it wasn't the biggest of contact, but it was a heck of a roll.
Yeah, it was a beauty. Yeah, and yeah, I think if I'd been in a real car, I probably would have vomited afterwards, because it was. I saw kind of floor sky, and then ended up upside down.
Dan Kelly is really starting to get on the back of Little Leach. He's really making inroads here, and he really wants that position.
But in the words of the great Murray Walker, catching is one thing, passing is another.
Indeed it is. He's got to make sure, though, as well, that he doesn't have any problems, because he pushed hard trying to catch Gary. Lot made a mistake, and let's be honest, if you make one more mistake, that's it, job done.
Well, yes, but again, he's not going to fall behind. If fall behind D-Biggs, he's going to have to have, as you said, a hell of an accident to fall behind Sooty.
He's got to have a hell of an accident to fall behind D-Biggs and get 10 seconds behind him, haven't you?
Absolutely. So, as Dom said to him in their own party, go for it, Dan, I've got your back. So if so, then, well, Dan's got a lap to do it, hasn't he?
Smithy in the chat, I do apologise, KLF, sincere apology from
That's
Smithy.
Okay.
Stuff happens racing at the end of the day.
It does, it's only my complete championship ruined.
You know what, it's happened, but that's motorsport, isn't it, at the end of the day? As Dan here is really making sure that Little Leach has got to work for it on this last lap. Jamie then is halfway down. He's by the Sooty Sendit corner, so we'll jump to Jamie in just a moment, as this is the battle we want to see. We've jumped to Jamie now, then going around the Sooty Sendit corner. Cameraman picks him up.
Nodded off for a minute, there he is.
And on race start 54 for Jamie Brazier, it looks like he's going to take his 19th win here at Simplay Motorsport. 19. Wow. Gary's then second on 16. So Jamie pulling away 3 wins ahead of Gary. Jamie is rounding the final corner now. No mistakes from him in this race. Overcut Gary in the pits. What a job from him. And we'll have to get him in for a quick word in just a moment, but it's going to be a cracking drive from Jamie Brazier, who's really done the business tonight, Kelly. What a drive from him. Race win, and now it's back to Gary in second place. Can he get that job done? Can Little Leach hang on? It looks like he's got enough to hang on. Dan looks a bit too far back for me.
Yeah, I don't think Dan's going to out-drag him up the hill now. So Gary goes across the line in second. Little Leach holds on to third just from Dan. Good recovery drive, really, from Dan.
Yeah.
Although we do know that the Rainmeister is not infallible. So D-Biggs with that penalty, I mean, he's not going to lose any more positions. But fifth place, so, yeah, again, I mean, look at where we are. Leachy's round one to Shake and Bake, round two to Leachy's.
Yeah.
You know, and Jamie in the mix. You know, so
exactly.
Ebbing and Flowing seems to be your statement of the week, doesn't it? It seems to be your favourite phrase of the week. I like that one.
Because of the championship, the way it's going at the minute, I'm absolutely loving the phrase ebbing and flowing. Sooty sixth, Phil seventh. I think they've come across the line in unison, and we've missed that one. There they are.
There
look,
we go.
The two are chorus. Sooty sixth, Phil in seventh. Then it looks like Peaceful and Monkey Boy, they may do a unison drive across the length. They're only within a couple of seconds of each other, but it looks like Peaceful is going to take a P8 with Monkey Boy in a P9. Then that's the 2GQ Motorsports. Welshie looks like he's going to take a P10, and then a night to forget if you're that Bozzy boy. Only 11th place for him and a retirement, not the night Liam would have wanted. And four then at the fastest lap of the race, a 26.5 from Gary. So Gary getting the fastest lap of the race, then gaining the extra point there, Kelly. That makes sure then that going into next week at Le Mans, championship well and truly on. Let me just format the table. Kelly, we'll get your we'll get some words from you on that race while I sort the tables out.
Yeah, okay. Well, we need to talk driver of the day. We haven't had that yet, but we need to talk about it. But again, it's game on, isn't it? I said round one of this meeting to Shake and Bake, and round two to the Leaches. So, I mean, this is turning into quite the fight for the title and for the and for the constructors as well. So don't miss around. It's all go, you know, all go.
It is all go, and it's Dan who will go to Le Mans next week. 3 points in the lead of both Biggs and Gary. Biggs and Gary come away still tied on points, but Dan leading the way in this one. Little Leach is fourth, 8 points behind Little Leach's Jamie Brazier, only 7 points off the 70 points. Sorry, not 7, 70 off the title. Double points to take in the next 2 weeks as well. So Jamie could be a huge factor going forward, depending on A, internet, and B, how his double points goes. Monkey Boy then in sixth place with Peaceful in seventh. Emo Guy in eighth, with Liam now back into ninth place ahead of Rabbit Joe in 10th. Disco, after a poor night for him, stays in P11. Sooty Apex up to 12th and Phil up to 13th. Welshie up to 14th ahead of Andy, who drops to 16th, and Keegs obviously in Andy's 15th and Keegs down to 16th place. Shake and Bake then, 62 points is the gap between themselves and the Leachy Legends, with 368 points still up for grabs. It is anybody's game. It's not Iron Brew Racing's, who stays P3, 245 off the back. GQ Motorsport now in fourth, with Class of 97 in fifth. Straight Line Racing sixth, and Run Flat Racing in seventh. They're separated by 8 points, and Simplay Racing at the bottom, no points tonight. Straight Line Racing, Run Flat Racing cannot win the Constructors' title as of tonight, so there goes the Akora's chances of a trophy. But they both look for the drivers. 195 and 194 points there off the title, so doable.
Yes, indeed. And let's talk driver of the day, shall we?
Let's talk driver of the day. Peaceful Explosion gives it to Dan. Little Leach says Gary.
Another one for Little Leach from Dean.
Yeah, Dean says Little Leach. I mean, arguably, I don't know where Dean's probably missed half the race, so I don't know what. I don't know if that's fair enough. Gary not happy with Liam in the chat. Dan wants to buy Jamie's phone with £50. No interview for me tonight, says Gary. So we're not going to get a chat with Gary.
Probably in a pool of his own sweat after that round, isn't he? Bless him.
Kelly,
I know it was
your driver of the day.
Do you know what? It's a tough one, and you know, again, you're a little bit biased, but Dan, great win on the first one. Good recovery, made a few mistakes. Little Leach, solid. Jamie with pace. I think it's a real tough one to call tonight, but I'm going to go for the Rainmeister. Dan for my driver of the day, but just my opinion.
Yeah, I'm going to go Craig. 2 third places. Good consistent driving tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Fair shout, mate. Absolutely.
D-Big's obviously got one from Peaceful and Little Leach from Dean. So Little Leach is going to take the driver of the day, and we'll get a quick word with him. Craig, P3 again. Looked like you had the pace over your brother at the end of that one, though. So was it team orders to stay behind?
It was in a way, yeah, and just to try and keep Biggs and Matt down behind.
What was the conditions like in that second race? A lot wetter, it looked like, from our point of view. Was it more difficult out there?
It was definitely different from the race one, but it wasn't. Come lap 10, it started to get a bit more difficult, yeah.
Gary, obviously not coming in for a quick interview. Is he disappointed not to have won that race?
He is very disappointed. He did say it helped loading the right setup in that race. Anyway.
Yeah, that will do it.
You've clawed some points back in this one for the team between the pair of you. Is that title back on now? Is it sort of hopes a bit higher after that one?
That's definitely still on. We won't give up yet.
What can you do at Le Mans next week? Is it a track you're enjoying, or what's the plan?
It's an alright track. We've got to have a bit of practice.
Well, we'll catch you.
Look forward to it.
We'll catch you next week, Craig. Well done, mate.
Yeah. Well done, mate.
And we've got Jamie, who's had no disconnections, no problems other than not being able to pass Little East in race one and spinning twice. Good second race though, Jamie. Good win. You did Gary on the overcut. Good job.
Yeah, so that was a brilliant win. So I loved every minute of that.
Excellent.
Pace looked good out here tonight, Jamie. Was you surprised with the pace of the Audi in the wet?
Yeah, I was surprised with it. So I've done a fair bit of testing in the wet, but just I haven't really done testing against much of the other pro guys. So yeah, I just didn't really know what to expect. But yeah, I didn't expect the Audi to be that quick.
19th race win at Simplay Motorsport. That's 3 now more than Gary. 70 points behind in the championship. Are you still thinking of the championship with your double points to take? Is it still a possibility?
It's definitely still a possibility. It's just I just need my double points to go well. If they go the way I want them, then I could be right.
Game
right
on.
In the title fight.
Well done, mate. Congratulations on your win tonight. Well done. We'll see you next week.
Well done.
Kelly, any final words from yourself?
No, not at all. Not too much. Just another fantastic night's racing, and I mean, what a cracking championship we got on our hands, Matt, haven't we? And kind of joking in the commentary about nowhere else to watch motorsport, but we have got a cracker. So everyone, stay tuned because this is going to go. It's going to be ebbing and flowing all the way to the end. Never
heard that before.
No, absolutely. So, I know. Final words for me. I'm off for the weekend camping, so I'm hoping everyone has a great weekend. And if all things go to plan, and next week as it is, I won't be around, unfortunately, because I've got a wedding to DJ. So I won't be around for commentary next week. So hopefully everyone will have a great race. But I'll catch back up on the stream at a later date. But again. Thank you to everyone. Great night's racing.
Yeah, we'll see you next Wednesday, Kelly. We'll be back tomorrow night, myself and Jamie Brazier in the commentary box for the GTEs. Hopefully it all goes ahead. I know a few people are away tomorrow night, so we will make sure that if there's too many missing, we may postpone it a week. If not, it should be ahead as normal. We'll be back for GT5s on Monday night. Can me and Craig start to do anything about Dan and D Biggs because they're just too quick.
They're just too quick for you boys.
They're too quick in a straight line. That's the thing, Kelly.
Daniel's just so pushy as well, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Pushing you off.
Did you see the video? Yeah, it was terrible. Outrageous. Scandalous from Dan.
Yeah, I mean, there was only a gap big enough for a bus. I mean, let alone a Ginetta, Terrible. Now, we'll be back there on Monday night. We'll be back with the GT3s around the historic Le Mans, not the normal Le Mans circuit, the Bugatti circuit next week for rounds 17 and 18. Coming to the back end of the season, 4 weeks left before we crown a champion. Is it D Biggs? Is it Unorthodox? Or can Gary become Mr. 3 times? That's all we've got time for tonight. We'll catch you next week. Good night. Good night. Thank you.